granted, he is amongst the substitutes.
Wolves fans are still raging from the penalty that wasn't.
Anfield Road end of the stadium means a possible 7,000 extra seats being fitted when the phase contraction is finished in the autumn. It isn't the only rebuild to take place here, as following a 5th place finish last term, Jurgen Klopp has refreshed the spine of his team as they look to restore former glories. A very good afternoon and welcome to Anfield. It's live Premier League commentary here on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service as Liverpool take on AFC Bournemouth in our star 3 p.m. fixture. To the team news then, and the newest of Liverpool signings, Wataru Endo is only eligible for the bench, completing a £17 million move from Stuttgart yesterday. The Reds are unchanged from their 1-1 draw with Chelsea on Sunday, starting with Alisson in goal. It's a 200th Premier League appearance for Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back, with Konate, Van Dijk and Robertson joining him in a back four from right to left. It's a home competitive debut for both Dominic Szoboszlai and Alexis McAllister, who are in a midfield three with Gakpo occupying the furthest left position. Whilst there's familiarity up top with Salah, who missed a penalty in the reverse fixture at the Vitality last season, on the right of Jota in the middle and Diaz on the left. Bournemouth make one change from their 1-1 draw with West Ham on the opening day as Antoine Semenyo comes in for David Brooks. The team in full sees Neto, who came into the Cherries fold after the defeat here last season between the sticks. It's a 4-2-3-1 formation for Bournemouth this afternoon, with from right to left Aarons, Zabani, Sensei and Kirkes in defence, with Billing and Rothwell providing the support just in front. Semenyo, Christie and Anthony are the midfield three before an Anfield return for the sole striker Dominic Solanke, who scored just once in 27 appearances here for the Reds. So, here we go then, our star 3 o'clock commentary from the Premier League as Liverpool take on Bournemouth. Liverpool attacking from right to left in this first half in their home strip of red shirts, red shorts, red stockings. Bournemouth in their change strip of all white, and we get underway here at Anfield with Liverpool attacking right to left in this opening period. You're listening to live commentary here from the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. Henry Deacon here with you for this unofficial live Premier League commentary as the ball's lofted up in mid-air. It's won by Diogo Jota inside his own half on the right-hand side. Ball still up in mid-air for the Reds. Ball down in the middle. It's one of 3 live Premier League commentaries we are bringing to you live here on Flash Score this afternoon. As Bournemouth pick the ball up on the right as they move forward. Aaron's gone down. Thomas Bramwell, the referee this afternoon, as Bournemouth looked to take the free kick quickly. It was a foul by Luis Diaz on the left side for Liverpool, attacking the away end in this opening period. Just a reminder of the other couple of games taking place. Fulham taking on Brentford and Wolves taking on Brighton. Bournemouth looking to take this free kick rather quickly, moving their way up the field in towards a penalty here. Alisson's come clattering out. Opportunity here for Bournemouth.
We're just seeing the goal now on a replay, and it's a lack of communication.
Yeah.
That's just mistakes, you know. We used to say back in the day, 1940s when I was playing, we would say early shout sorts it out, and there's no communication there whatsoever. It's a tap-in, absolute tap-in, but, you know, got it right, the linesman got it absolutely spot on.
Yeah. And I think it shows that...
Oh, there's a goal.
Hang on a second. I think there is a goal now at Anfield. What is happening here? Hayley Barber!
Oh, what is happening with Liverpool's defence? It is Bournemouth who now definitely do have the lead, and it is Antoine Semenyo, who started today after coming off the bench last weekend, who gets the final touch. Philip was involved. It was rebounded back out to Semenyo, who just crashed it into the bottom right-hand corner of Alisson's net. They are checking. I think the referee has his finger to his ear, but I can't see that there'll be anything wrong with that one. That one looks like a goal. It took Liverpool 3 minutes to get their first goal in that 9-0 drubbing last season. Bournemouth are 1-0 up already. Could we see a repeat?
This is unbelievable. It's almost like as if we need to replay the question that I gave to you earlier. I mean, what is going on with Liverpool?
I've just said to Glenn, is that a bad ball from Van Dijk or poor touch from Trent? Glenn said it's a poor touch. I agree. But, I mean, the finish is I mean, it's a great strike. He gets lucky, but the reaction from Robertson...
Well, a number of the Liverpool players, they're not happy. He's just dropped into that sort of inverted wing-back role.
Which is brilliant which is great at.
He is, but all of a sudden it changes the whole dynamics of the game, doesn't it, Dion? Because he's used to playing on the right and at right-back where he can see the whole of the play. All of a sudden you've got people come from all around you. Yeah. It's a bad touch, he gets robbed. And you know what? It's a deserved goal from Bournemouth because they've pressed hard, they've been brave away at Anfield, and it's the second time they've had the ball in the back of the net. This time it counts. 1-0 Bournemouth.
A couple of goals in the EFL as well. Walsall 1-0 up against Crewe Alexandra. Freddie Draper with the goal, and Will Evans has put Newport County in front against Forest Green Rovers in League 2. We'll get the details from Kelly in just a moment. Ball in the back of the net and Molineux, Will Perry.
Yeah, Brighton have had the better start, but it's Wolves who've had a goal ruled out. Still Wolves 0, Brighton 0. It was Lamina from the edge of the box who scuffed his shot. It fell straight into the path of Fabio Silva, who I mentioned hasn't scored for a couple of years after a couple of loan spells last season, and he slotted past Steele, but clearly offside, and thankfully for the Wolves fans, no VAR controversy in that one. Wolves 0, Brighton 0.
A chance for Brentford at Craven Cottage, Chris Wise.
Yeah, came the way of Johan Wissa. Actually, it was a lovely ball in from the left-hand side. It took a touch, which carried it to Wissa, who was waiting at the far post. Nobody actually anywhere near him in terms of Fulham's defenders. And Wissa had a bit of a swipe at it, didn't connect cleanly, and it went quite a long way over the top of the crossbar. But Brentford probably the better side in the opening 5 minutes.
A lot's happening already. Thank you, Chris. Into the Championship, Ipswich Town, one of two teams with a 100% record. Have they made a good start today against Queen's Park Rangers? Chris Latcham.
Nothing to report so far, but because of that perfect record you mentioned, Ipswich have stuck with the same team that started both of their wins so far. I guess if the tractor ain't broke, keep on ploughing. 2 wins have Ipswich top of the fledgling Championship. 21 games as well since they last lost in the league. And so good have they been that the QPR boss Gareth Ainsworth said this week his team are ready to defy the odds to stop them. Well, he's going to have to do it without the Scotland frontman Lyndon Dykes. He's injured, so Chris Willock has come in. We just had a very passionate minute's applause at the Arsenal with their famous goal with Trevor Francis.
Liverpool have hit the bar, and we'll sort out your line, Chris. In the meantime, the other side with 2 wins from to Leicester City. They're at home to Cardiff City, looking to make it 3 opening wins on the bounce for the 5th time in their history. Good afternoon, Naz Premji.
Afternoon, Jason. Great stat is that. Here's another. Each of Leicester's 3 Championship goals so far have gone in the 73rd minute or later, so expect late drama here. And these two last met in 2018 when both were in the Premier League. Cardiff won 1-0 that day. I'm sure you'd love a repeat of that. Both sides with changes, 2 for Leicester, including a start for Wilfred Ndidi, who has been linked with a move away. Cardiff changed 3. Ike Ugbo leading the line for the Bluebirds, and we've had an uneventful 5 minutes. It's 0-0.
It's Victor Camarasa with that memorable goal. So let's get details of that Liverpool chance. Ailey Barber.
Yeah, Liverpool have very much woken up after that sticky first 3 minutes. I make that 3 or 4 corners since Bournemouth went ahead for Liverpool, and one of them, Andy Robertson, floated into the centre of the box. Virgil van Dijk. It was a brilliant header, actually. He had to sort of contort his body, hit it behind him, and it came crashing off the underside of the bar, bounced down, but not over the line. This has been a brilliant start to this game. Bournemouth are now back on the attack. We could have a lot of goals here today. I'm hoping so. It would be a great start for me, for my season, if it was a nice goal fest to look forward to. But it is Bournemouth who leads by that goal to 0.
Yes, happy new season to you, Ailey. Great to have you with us. Right, Watford unbeaten so far and have their first away game of the season at Stoke City. Big question is, can they do it on a sunny Saturday in Stoke? Nesta McGregor.
Well, Jason, Watford have won the last 4 league matches between the 2 teams, so perhaps it's more than likely. The away side made 1 change. The very experienced Jake Livermore coming going into the centre of midfield. As for the home team, beaten 2-0 a week ago, they make 3 changes, but Andre Vidigal isn't one of them. Stoke City's Portuguese winger has 3 goals in 2 games. He's red hot. And talking of which, Jason, you are right about the weather. It's an absolute scorcher. I want to send a shout out to Big Dave, who not only lent me some of his Factor 50, but offered to apply it as well. Still 0-0 here.
Great work, Big Dave. All right, Abu Issa has scored for Grimsby Town in League 2 against Mansfield Town, 1-0 there. Blackburn Rovers also undefeated so far this season. They're at home to Hull City. How's this one starting? Good afternoon, Rich Wolfenden.
Yeah, not much to talk about yet, Jay. Still 0-0, but they've got 2 wins and a draw under their belt so far of Rovers. Those 2 wins have both come at home as well. So Jean Dahl Thomason will be hoping to keep this early season evil momentum going by winning today against an opposition who've not won an away game since January 2nd. However, Hull City did pick up their first win of the season last weekend with Ozan Tufan getting a hat-trick. But today, Burnley loanee Scott Twine makes his full Hull City debut as he leads the Tigers' front line.
Start for Tranmere Rovers. They lead Salford City by 1-0. Connor Jennings with a goal on 6 minutes. Sheffield Wednesday still looking for their first win of the season since getting promoted from League One. Preston North End had a good win against Sunderland last weekend. Good afternoon, Nick Eshragani.
Good afternoon, Jason. Yes, their home side will be desperate to get off the mark after 2 defeats to kick things off on their return to the Championship, but they'll be boosted by the inclusion of new signing Momo Diaby, who starts in midfield today for the first time. Another of their new signings, winger JD Gassama, who joined from PSG last week, starts on the bench as well. One of 10 new signings for Wednesday this summer. As for Preston, 1 win and a draw to start their league campaign. That's after fizzling out in their playoff contention right at the end of last season. And manager Ryan Lowe has already spoken about learning from their mistakes this time around, and they'll be looking for back-to-back wins, as you say, after seeing Sunderland off last week. They've looked the more energetic here in the opening stages, but no chances to report yet. It remains 0-0.
Scored for Oxford United and north of the border. It's the second round of the Scottish League Cup. Our feature game is a meeting between 2 informed sides as St Mirren take on Motherwell. Kenny Crawford.
And it's a brilliant start for St Mirren because they have gone 1-0 up through Caelan Boyd-Munce. A brilliant strike from the edge of the box, arrowed right into the top right-hand corner after Ryan Strain's initial shot had been blocked. These 2 teams going really well in the league and the cup so far this season. Something's got to give. At the moment, St Mirren have the upper hand, 1-0.
Earlier, Rangers took on Scottish Championship side Greenock Morton. This one was watched by Gavin Wallace.
Rangers 2, Greenock Morton 1, and no need to mention the first half. It certainly wasn't a classic, although Morton held their own. Just a little bit more to talk about in the second half. Morton opened the scoring for the penalty spot after VAR was involved. Kurt Broadfoot was fouled by Cyril Dessers inside the box. Captain Grant Gillespie stood up as cool as you like and slotted well beyond Jack Butland. VAR intervened again on the hour mark as Broadfoot, with the smallest of tugs, fouled Leon Balogun. Dessers stood up to level things, and then 8 minutes later, £6 million striker Danilo found himself the subject of a nice through ball. He dropped the shoulder and put it well beyond Jamie McDonald. Rangers through to the next round. It wasn't pretty, and probably more questions than answers from Michael Beale. It finishes here at Ibrox. Rangers 2, Greenock Morton 1.
MK Dons have taken the lead against Colchester United. Mohamed Issa with a goal on 8 minutes. Let's go to Anfield. What is happening with Alisson Alibaba?
Oh, it's incredible. I thought the first mistake he made there was a mix-up between him and the defence, but I have seen it back, and I think he just completely miskicked the ball. In fact, pretty much missed it, and he was trying to pass it out to Konate. He put it about 3 yards in front of him, and Jayden Anthony sneaked in, took it round Alisson. Alisson took him out outside the box, got a yellow card for his troubles, the goalkeeper. But it's been an absolute shambles. Then Luis Diaz was robbed in acres of space, robbed by Philip, who drove forward, couldn't quite get the 1-2 with Semenyo clinical enough, and Liverpool were able to clear, but they are all over the place at the back here, and Bournemouth must be smelling a real opportunity. In saying that, though, Liverpool are very dangerous when they go up the other end. It is still Bournemouth that lead here by that goal to nil.
Yes, potentially a big story developing at Anfield. Is that a corner for Wolves, Will Perry?
No, it's a goal kick, I think, but it was a nice little move down the right-hand side. Nunes couldn't get on the end of it, and Jason Steele will get the chance to boot this one up, or the way Brighton play, keep it amongst his defenders. They're such an exciting team to watch, Brighton, just up the other end there. Nearly came off a couple of chances. It was Estepinian and Matoma in the box, but stoic defending from those Wolves back four. And we've had Pascal Gross, guys, booked for kicking the ball away. Do you not think since the rules have been changed, with the referees obliged to book players now when they kick the ball away, we've seen more of it? What is going on? 0-0.
Yeah, it's a good question, and we were talking last week about the added-on time as well, Will. Very good point. Let's go to Craven Cottage. Chris Wise.
Two really good teams to watch here, actually, and Fulham have settled in. I spoke about the fact that Brentford, probably in the opening 5 minutes or so, looked assured. Well, now Fulham are getting the ball moving. They've got Wilson, who's staying wide on the right, Dickeldover-Reid, who's doing the same on the left, just to try and open Brentford up a bit. And they've had a chance as well. Pereira's corner from the right-hand side came to Issa Diop. He was about 8 yards out, had to hurry it because it was a crowded box. There was lots of bodies around him. Took a touch, immediately got the shot away. It was a long way over the top of the crossbar, but Fulham now looking far more encouraging now they've settled in.
Thank you, Chris. Kelly's got the latest from League Two and a flurry of goals.
Yeah, there's been lots of early goals in League Two. So just to bring you up to speed with some of the goal scorers, Newport County's Will Evans. He is in remarkable form. 4 goals in a week for him. 2 last weekend, 1 in midweek, and he scored the opener today against Forest Green. He only scored 2 last season, and his career has been remarkable. He played 4 years for Cardiff Met Uni, including in the Europa League. Then he spent 2 years at Barlowtown. At 26, this is only his 2nd season in the Football League. Walsall also 1-0 up against Crewe. Freddie Draper, the 19-year-old from Lincoln. He got 2 assists last week, and he's got his first 2 goals for Walsall. First 2 assists, last week, and now a goal for them. They are winless away from home as well, Walsall, in 14 matches. And also, what a day to be an Issa. Grimsby are 1-0 up against Mansfield, and Abo Issa, who scored 2 last week, has put them 1-0 up. And MK Dons were in the lead against Colchester, and his brother, Mohamed Issa, had scored there, but Joseph Taylor has just equalised. I should also tell you that Tranmere are 1-0 up against Salford. Tranmere got their first win of the season in midweek, and they've started well as well today.
I know you'll say, here you go again, but Will Evans, not only in a rich vein of form, but lovely lad as well. He did a bit of coaching with my boy when he was little.
Any opportunity to link it back to Cardiff?
Well, you know, it's a small place, right? We all know each other.
Is that
Dion knows. Dion knows he's been there many times.
I can't wait for Leicester to score, to be honest.
Very quickly, Colchester were 1-0 down. They're now 2-1 up against MK Dons.
There we go. Oh, look, Glenn Murray's smiling now. It looks like there's a goal for Brighton Hove Albion at Wolverhampton Wanderers. Will Perry.
This guy is outrageous. Kaoru Mitoma, take a bow. The Japanese magician. What a goal this is. Look at this on Match of the Day tonight. Brilliant, brilliant finish from Kaoru Mitoma, who just strolls through pretty much 6 Wolves players. He picks it up about 50 yards from goal. I mean, it's atrocious Wolves defending, but just walks right through and slots it into the bottom right-hand corner. But he picks it up almost by the halfway line, over by the far touchline. No Wolves defenders get near him. He's allowed to stroll right into the box. A couple of lovely touches, lovely finish into the bottom right-hand corner. He's going to be the next one off the block out the Amex, isn't he? For what? 70, 80, 90 million quid? Name your price, Mitoma. 1-0 Brighton.
Well, brilliantly described. Thank you very much indeed, Glenn. I mean, what pace. I mean, what a finish, composed finish as well.
I thought it was a rubbish goal, and nobody should look at him, really, in all honesty. We won't have a team left at this rate, but what a fantastic finish from Mitoma. I mean, like Will said, he picks it up just inside the Wolves half. He glides past 4 or 5 Wolves players, and the finish is just a plum. Sarr comes out, he just bends it round him, and you know what a special player he is.
It just seems to, I don't know, it's very hard to do that. You've got to have so much belief in yourself that you've got the pace and the power and the skill to keep it off. Yeah. You know, 5 sort of gold shirts, and then when you get towards the end of the run, that's when it's the hardest part, when you've got to go, how do I finish this? He knows exactly what he's doing.
If I could liken it to any goal, it feels like, can you remember Ben Arthur a few seasons ago when he ran right through the middle? It's a little bit similar to that. He just cuts right through the middle of the Wolves midfield and defence, and then to have the composure at the end, to be able to open himself up and just tuck it in that bottom corner. What a fantastic goal. And Will was right, you need to catch that Match of the Day tonight, 100%.
Quite right. Thank you very much indeed, Glenn. Thank you, Dion. Right then, back to the Championship. Bristol City and Birmingham City both had good wins last week. They meet today at Ashton Gate. Andy Stevenson.
Afternoon, Jason, and both teams unbeaten as well so far after 2 league and 1 cup match apiece. Nigel Pearson makes 2 changes from Bristol City's last gasp 1-0 win at Millwall last Saturday. Harry Cornick and Anis Mehmeti come in for Mark Sykes and Naki Wells. Birmingham City impressed their new co-owner Tom Brady last weekend. Also required an added time winner though to see off Leeds. John Eustace names an unchanged lineup from that win. So penalty hero Lukas Jutkovic will have to come off the bench again to feature. Birmingham did have an early half chance here, but Scott Hogan headed over. It's a decent game, but after 15 minutes it's goalless.
Thank you very much indeed, Andy. Middlesbrough have lost their first 2 league games of the season. Not since 84-85 have they lost their opening 3 league games of a second-tier campaign. Mark Webber.
It's 0-0. No one's looking at that league table.
Corner taken quickly back towards Alexander.
As either side, Huddersfield have just had one. Borough's new signing Emmanuel Latila frothing up this affair like a finely blended coffee. 2 chances for him. Hayden Hackney denied by a point-blank save. Sammy Severa also just wide, and one more chance for Huddersfield of note. Matty Pearson with a scissor kick, which was pointed wide. Most important part of this update, Will Evans was the president of the student union at Cardiff Met. Got me loads of cheap beer.
You see what I mean, Kelly? It's a very small place. It's a bit like a village. Everyone knows each other.
I'm sorry, but has Will Evans ever had more airtime? We're literally
yeah.
saying his whole career.
Well done, Will.
In a minute, I'm going to tell you about his family and his personal life.
Well, hopefully the social media team will see this and they'll cut it and they'll loop him in. There you are as well. There you go.
Great.
Can't say further than that. Tony Mowbray has warned Sunderland against complacency this weekend, insisting today's clash with Rotherham United is dangerous. A bit like our reporter Andy Sixsmith's Blazers.
I learned any sartorial sharpness from some Welsh bloke who likes the odd painting of himself, Chase. But nah, Saturdays haven't been the same without the final score family. Sunderland haven't been the same either, I'll tell you. Playoffs last season, now starting with consecutive defeats for the first time in 7 years. With only 2 goals from 34 shots, Tony Mowbray wants a striker who lives for goals. Bradley Dack is his type on paper today. While the Black Cats have no points, Rotherham have no wins, with boss Matt Taylor saying he's not enjoying the season. Little surprise, his side have finished every game with 10 men and haven't won on the road since last November. A debut for club record signing Chris T.A., who's in to provide some divine inspiration. So a new season, new rules, but same rivalries. A billboard outside advertising the Premier League. Some cheeky sausage has coloured the black and white stripes in as red and white. We love a bit of pettiness, don't we? 0-0.
Very cheeky. Right, red card at Ewood Park. Rich Wolfenden.
Yeah, and there was no pettiness in this because it was the most clear red card you'll see all season. Blackburn down to 10. Harry Pickering sent off. Took out the last man, Scott Twine, the Burnley loanee here at Blackburn. He's the pantomime villain today, but Blackburn playing with 10 men, 17 minutes on the clock, 0-0.
Welcome to League Two. Wrexham 1-0 down. Jake Young with a goal against Swindon Town. Let's go to South Wales. Swansea City with 1 point from their opening 2 games against Coventry City, who impressed with a 3-0 win at Middlesbrough last time out. Good afternoon to Ryan Bromelo.
Good afternoon to you, Jace. You better not be criticising my club. Just 19 minutes on the clock here in South Wales. It's the visitors who've settled into this one. Hadji Wright with 2 wayward efforts, the closest anyone has come. It's been his show so far. Charlie Patino's impressive cameo against West Brom backs Deloney his first start, whilst former Swan Joel Lati-Boudier lines up in new colours this afternoon for the Sky Blues. He was met by early boos on his old stomping ground, and now that's a name that turns heads, isn't it, Jay? Still 0-0.
You're always smartly dressed, Ryan. To League One, Reading are back on a positive points tally after their first win of the season in midweek. They take on Stevenage, who are flying with 3 wins from 3. Good afternoon to Joshua Adudonka.
Good afternoon, Jason. It's been another rollercoaster week for Reading on and off the field. They indeed secured their first league win here since February in midweek. However, the next day they were deducted 1 point via the EFL for failing to pay their players on time on 3 occasions last season. Striker Andy Carroll was not on the matchday squad for the 2nd successive game. He's expected to leave the club. Stevenage are enjoying life in League One, the first time in EFL history. They've won their opening 3 league games. Best chance has gone to Reading. Mehdi Kamara's dragged a shot wide. Reading 0, Stevenage 0.
Oh, a bit of a dust up at Wolves Brighton. We'll go there very shortly. Let's go to League Two. Last season's beaten playoff finalists Stockport, who haven't won yet, take on Barrow, who haven't lost yet. Narmacorn.
Yeah, that sums it up quite nicely, Jason. Stockport were within 1 Wembley penalty of promotion to League One last season, and ironically, it was a spot kick saved by county keeper Ben Hinchliffe midweek, which went a long way to stopping them from losing all 3 of their opening games of the new campaign. Stockport are expected to be challenging for promotion again this season. Their opponents this afternoon, Barrow, however, perhaps aren't many people's hot tips to go up, but they've started very well, 2nd in the table after 3 games. They'll be looking to do what they did here at Edgeley Park last season and win. At least one team called the Bluebirds is doing all right this season, Jason? Stockport nil,
right.
Barrow nil.
Thank you very much. Goal at the Stadium of Light. Here we go. Andy Sixsmith.
Where Rotherham lead in the battle of the winners on Weir's side. Sunderland 0, Rotherham 1. It all came down the right-hand side. Low cross deflected into the path of Hakeem Adoffin, who buried his finish beyond Anthony Patterson. A bigger strike here than there'll be at the Dublin Families Bowling Night later today. Sunderland 0, Rotherham 1.
Thank you, Andy. Bit of Sunday League pushing and shoving going on at Molineux, Will Perry.
Yeah, I mean, it was pathetic, really, but it's Wolves 0, Brighton 1. It was Billy Gilmore, who shouldn't really be shoving anyone when he's 5'2.5", but he did that to Nunes, and he had him in a bit of a headlock, and he's got a booking. We've had a few bookings, actually. Dawson in the book for a fierce challenge on Enciso. Milne the book for bringing down Cunha. And another one, Jason, Enciso in the book for kicking the ball away. What's going on? We've had another Matoma chance as well, a glancing header straight at Saar. Brighton lead by a goal to 0.
Yeah, stupidity. Another chance at Anfield. Ailey Barber.
Yeah, big chance for Liverpool. A great break down the right-hand side, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and he picked out Diogo Jota perfectly, right on the penalty spot, and you thought he was just going to unleash it first time in towards the back of the net, but he decided to take a touch, a poor touch, and Bournemouth were able to clear. This game is just so open, though. When both teams go forward, you think something could well happen as Liverpool just force a save there out of Neto in the Bournemouth goal. But yeah, there will be more goals in this one, trust me on that one, and Bournemouth have the only one so far.
Thanks, Ailey. Red card in our game between Reading and Stevenage in League One. Joshua Adedonka.
Yeah, it's still Reading 0, Stevenage 0, but Stevenage are now down to 10 players. Nathan Thomas has been sent off for 2 bookable offences, just dragged down Hutchison as he tried to get in towards the penalty, just outside, not a penalty. 100% record under threat here for Stevenage. Just can imagine the manager, Steve Evans, is not delighted with that. It's 0-0 still.
What a game at the Stadium of Light. Another goal. Andy Sixsmith.
I'm loving this, Tits. I'll tell you now, it's Sunderland 1, Rotherham 1, and Sunderland hitting back almost immediately. It's a bit of a scruffy one. Cross to the back post. Dan Neal's header back across, and there was Job Bellingham, of course, the brother of Jude. He's living it up the Bernabeu, but Job is becoming a bona fide Black Cat. It's 1-1.
And let's see if we can get to Fulham for the free kick. Chris Wise.
We can, and Wisser is there, and the looped header up into the sky, caught by Bernd Leno. Still 0-0. It's a good game, but really chances at a premium, and that is because they're cancelling each other out. They're two extremely similar sides. I just want to make a note about Mark Flecken, the Brentford goalkeeper. Just a couple of times in the first 24 minutes, we've maybe seen that relationship. He's new, £11 million from Freiburg. They've brought him in to replace David Raya. You've just seen that perhaps that relationship hasn't quite grown yet with those in front of him. He nearly got caught in possession by Jimenez. There was a bit of miscommunication a moment ago between him and Nathan Collins, another new arrival into Brentford's backline. So it'll be interesting to see how he settles down, but it is still 0-0.
End-to-end stuff at Molineux for Will Perry.
Yeah, it's a good game, this one opening up. It's Cunha at the far post who has a shot. In fact, Nunes scuffed into the ground there. Wolves trying to get back into this game. Up the other end before that, a brilliant Matoma run. Oh, there's Dawson from distance. From 30 yards, he has a pop and it flies over Jason Steele's bar with Gareth Southgate watching on to the left of me for this one, but Matoma down the other end, brilliant run down that touchline and put across right across the 6-yard box. No Brighton player there to turn it past Saar, and the other goal. Still 1-0 Brighton.
Derby County have just taken the lead. Martin Waghorn with a goal on 23 minutes against Fleetwood Town. I think there's a big penalty shout at Anfield for Ailey Barber.
Yeah, it was an absolutely brilliant one from Senesi in Bournemouth's defence. He just went all the way up the pitch, and then he played in Solanke, and he was sort of sandwiched between, I think it was Van Dijk and Robertson, and he went down, but there wasn't really too much of a claim from Solanke, and there was certainly, as much as I'm sure it was checked in VAR, there wasn't much of a look either from the referee, so nothing given. Liverpool with a free kick, and Bournemouth still with that goal that separates the two sides.
Thank you, Ailey. Brentford on the attack. Chris Wise.
Yeah, ball's just gone out of play for a throw, so they've just come back into the game in the last 5 minutes or so. Haven't seen any sign of Alexander Mitrovic yet either. I was just wondering whether we might catch sight of him somewhere in the crowd. Haven't seen a shot on the screen yet. Obviously, Raul Jimenez is leading the line today.
Less than 24 hours until the Women's World Cup final between England and Spain in Sydney.
England are heading for the World Cup final!
Making a final is special anyway, but with this team and with the challenges we had, how we find a way all the time to solve problems has been amazing.
A superb finish from Alessia Russo! We're very relaxed.
Diaz, who has his back to goal, flicks the ball up with his right foot and then acrobatically an overhead kick past Neto, who's rooted. Wonderful innovation. Liverpool level, not so sure they deserve it.
And that touching moment, Merseyside United.
Compact and difficult to beat really against them, and I think that once we were able to do that, we can then implement our own game plan on them and hopefully punish them.
I just hope it's going to be an incredible game, and of course I have a very preference who wants to win.
No matter anything that we've faced as a team, we've managed to beat it. We're going to go into the Sunday with the same attitude, and I do really believe in this team that we can go on and achieve more history.
For us, people keep telling us that the support back home is amazing, and we're so grateful. Our fans mean a lot to us. Hopefully we can see them and celebrate with them when we're back.
In a team, you can never do things by yourself. You have an incredible team, a group of players that really are very committed and very eager to win and to perform at the highest level. Everyone works so hard to make everything work, and everyone needs each other too, so it's not a one-person success.
We bring out the best of each other. We've got so much confidence and inner belief within us. We know what it takes to win, and yeah, we're going to go and do that.
It's going to be an incredible occasion. Coverage starts 9:45 in the morning. BBC One, BBC iPlayer. Goal at Anfield, Ailey Barber.
And Liverpool are back level. Luis Diaz once again getting himself on the score sheet. It was a beautiful finish, actually. The cross from Diogo Jota took a slight deflection, so Diaz just teed it up and sort of overhead kick, bicycle kicked it into the back of the net past Neto to make it 1 apiece. And it came just after the 26th minute here at Anfield, where there was an applause in memory of Michael Jones, who was a construction worker and lifelong Everton fan, who sadly died while working on Everton's new stadium during the week. And Jurgen Klopp and the team actually went over and laid a wreath before the game today. So a really poignant, an emotional scene here at Anfield just before Diaz put that ball in the net as Mo Salah tries to get himself through, but it's a heavy touch and Neto's able to grab at his feet. But it is now Liverpool 1, Bournemouth 1.
Yeah, Ailey, thank you very much indeed. That was such a sad story that broke in midweek. So often, Dion, we talk about Luis Diaz or we talk about Mohamed Salah, but so often we see Diogo Jota with those little passes. Such a clever footballer, isn't he?
Yeah, just, I don't know what it is about him, but he seems to get in good positions to either score or assist his teammates, and it gets a little nick. I mean, Diaz is like 8 yards out, he's centre of the goal, the ball's bobbling into him. He knows he's not going to be able to get a touch and control it on the floor, so he flicks it up, Jay. He purposely flicks it up to volley it quickly, because he knows he can't put any high feet up there with studs. It's a brilliant finish, great thinking, it's just instinctive.
Fab goal.
Technically, it's an absolutely beautiful goal. Like Dion says, he hasn't got much time to react. He comes in from about 8 yards, cut back from Jota. He just flicks it with his right foot, and he's quick enough before it bounces to swivel himself, fall backwards, and volley into the back of the net. Brilliant goal by Diaz. And Liverpool, I can't say they're back on track, Dion, because Bournemouth are the ones that are still pushing, and we've just seen a rerun of Solanke. It was a penalty ask earlier on for Bournemouth, and it's the first rerun we've seen of it, isn't it, Dion? And it actually does look like it's a penalty, but it just seemed to get swept away, didn't it?
No appeal at all.
No appeal at all. It was a funny one.
OK, lots of goals in the EFL to tell you about as well very quickly, and more detail from Kelly. Wrexham back in it against Swindon Town. Accrington are leading against Harrogate. Sean McConville with the goal. Notts County in front at Doncaster Rovers, and Charlie Austin scored Swindon Town's second goal. You are right bang up today. Back to Molyneux, Will Perry.
Well, Nunes has just had a chance for Wolves. He's just curled it right of Jason Steele's far post there, and another brilliant chance from Wolves before that. The best chance of the game, no doubt. Gary O'Neill had his hands on his head because it was Fabio Silva who was threaded through by Cunha. Brilliant pass which split the Brighton defence. An excellent save from Jason Steele, but Fabio Silva had to score. And I don't want to be harsh on him, but I haven't seen anything from this guy since he arrived, 3 years ago. £35 million as a 19-year-old. Get him into shooting practice with Dublin and Murray. Wolves 0, Brighton 1.
Do they really need that? Are you sure?
that would finish him off.
Are you sure? Let's go to Craven Cottage. I think a chance, Chris Wise.
Yeah, well, the ball's come off Brentford's crossbar and from one of their own defenders as well. Ethan Pinnock sent it onto his bar. Actually, there was a push by Kenny Tete, so it's actually a free kick, so it wouldn't have counted anyway. And I was going to tell you about a chance down the other end for Brentford, and probably one of the best chances so far of the game. The ball came up to Jimenez on the halfway line. It hit him. He lost control. Just sort of trickled in the way of Johan Wissa, who suddenly could turn, run towards Fulham's backline, which he did, and then he let fly from probably about 20 yards or so. Didn't really have the power or the conviction behind the shot. Relatively routine in the end for Bernd Leno in the Fulham goal, but that will go down as a chance for Brentford, and certainly in a game where they haven't had too many prime opportunities so far.
Yeah, it has to go down as a chance. Thank you, Chris. Not many goals in the Championship. Chris Latcham.
No, none here. 0-0 between QPR and Ipswich. Ipswich are the form team, but it's QPR have had the best couple of chances. Sinclair Armstrong. Now, I was never good at angles. Ask Mr. Gibbons, he'll tell you. But even with the answers in the back of the textbook, I still couldn't explain how his shot did not go in. Shot from the corner of the box, power shot, low, beat the goalkeeper, rattled off the inside of the far post, went across the line, off the inside of the near post, and somehow stayed out. He's also just stung the goalkeeper's palms with another power shot. Looks a real player, Sinclair Armstrong, but it is 0-0.
Yeah, and Kelly's here with a roundup of all those big stories breaking in the EFL. Kelly.
As we just said then, Jason, not too many goals in the Championship there, but of course Sunderland 1, Rotherham 1 is the latest score. I just wanted to point out that Joe Bellingham's first ever league goal, and he was born in 2005. Doesn't that make us all feel very old? Yes, it does indeed. Into League One then, two teams with 100% records, Peterborough and Stevenage, both still 0-0 though. As we were hearing, Stevenage are down to 10 men. A few goal scorers to highlight to you. Alfie May, formerly of Cheltenham Town, signed for Charlton this summer. He has scored from the spot to put Charlton 1-0 up. It was Connor Ripley that was brought down in that game. Interestingly, Alfie May scoring his first goal for Charlton. His last goal for Cheltenham was actually against Charlton, so a bit confusing for him there. Oxford 1-0 up against Barnsley. Cameron Brannigan linked with Bristol City in the Championship this week on target there, whilst Martin Waghorn has scored his first goal on his return to Derby County against Fleetwood Town. Into League Two, where, as we've been hearing, all the goals really have been coming at Wrexham. Their games are never dull indeed. In fact, I've just seen that Daniel Kemp has extended Swindon's lead to make it 3-1 there. But Jason, I'm going to have to go back to you because I hear there's news of a penalty in the Premier League.
Yes, there is a penalty at Anfield. Ailey Barber.
And it is a penalty for Liverpool. So Botzlai on the ball. He's heading into the box, right on the edge of the box. And the foot comes in from Joe Rothwell, absolutely catches him just as he's trying to change direction. Definite penalty. I don't know why Neto's having an argument with the referee at the moment, but perhaps suggesting that Bournemouth should have had a penalty at the other end earlier on. You have seen a replay of that one and discussed it, and now Neto getting a yellow card from the referee. But it is Liverpool with a penalty. The ball not quite on the spot. Trent Alexander-Arnold and Mo Salah both standing around the ball. I'm assuming it will be Mo Salah that will pick it up and place it on the spot, but the referee just... Mo Salah, who is placing the ball on the penalty spot. He has 8 goals in his last 8 games against Bournemouth, and this goal would be, if he can stick it in the back of the net, his 200th goal involvement in the Premier League, the 140th goal for Mo Salah in those goal involvements. He takes a few steps backwards towards the edge of the box. The referee blows the whistle, and Mo Salah, hands on hips, stares down Neto. He takes a shuffle to the right, left foot, and Neto saves it, and it's Mo Salah on the follow-up into the top corner, and he is celebrating, and Liverpool have turned this game around. It is Liverpool 2, Bournemouth 1.
Yeah, well, first of all, let's deal with the penalty. Definite penalty for you, Glenn?
Yes, it was. At one angle, I was questioning it, but we've seen a better angle, and it is a penalty. What Joe Rothwell's doing, dangling a leg in that position, I have no idea. He's going absolute nowhere, Szoboszlai. He needn't do it, needed Dion. He's going towards the touchline, but he dangles that leg, gives him the opportunity to go over it, and it is a penalty.
Yeah. It's a smart save, isn't it, from Neto? Unfortunately, it falls kindly for Mo.
You know, sometimes when you know that you're just going to go straight down the middle and you're going to go smash it down the middle, then you have to go right down the middle, otherwise the keeper's going to have a great chance of stopping it. But it's a strong hand from Neto, and it just falls back into Mo Salah's path, and he's 6 yards out and taps it in.
It does. Liverpool have the lead then. They lead 2-1. Let's go to Will Perry at Molineux.
Well, Wolves trying to find a way back into this game. They have the ball on the halfway line with Semedo here, but it's Brighton who've got full control after that goal that we've got to mention. Again, you've got to watch on Match of the Day tonight from Kaoru Matoma, who's been absolutely superb. Long ball over the top here for Wolves, and here is Nunes on the left-hand side. Can he get a ball into the box? He's got Milner, low centre of gravity. Wolves going back. It's still 1-0 Brighton.
And off we go to Craven Cottage. Any chances since we were last with you, Chris Wise?
No, and chances have been at a premium throughout, to be honest, in the 37 minutes so far, but Brentford have just won themselves a corner, so we might keep an eye on this. Remember, there's no Ben Mee in this Brentford side. He's still out with a calf injury. I think Thomas Frank was hoping to have him available today, but he is absent again, and he would be an aerial threat from a set piece. But nevertheless, they've got Mbemo over there, and also Matthias Jensen, who's had a really good game actually so far in Brentford's midfield, and it is a little short one which is teed up for Henry, sent in and comfortably cleared away. And that really has been the story of the game so far. They've been trading half blows, both of the teams so far, still 0-0.
We've had a goal in the Championship and the King Power, and that's Premji.
It's Dublin 1, Mohammed 0, Leicester 1, Cardiff 0. Lovely corner in from Keenan Dewsbury Hall, and on the volley, Wanya Marcel. He's lashed it in from the right-hand side into the bottom corner. They nearly made it 2 through Steffi Mavadidi a few minutes ago. Leicester 1, Cardiff 0.
Very lively. Why are you cheering? It's so childish.
We won
Honestly, you're so childish.
I'm adding them to the we list.
I tell you. Is there any chance we can get another pundit next time? So childish. Let's go to Chris Wise at Craven Cottage.
Talked about there being half chances. This is more than a half chance for Brentford, and Bemo sent one whizzing across goal. Wissa's knocked it on, and just before anybody can convert at the far post for Brentford, Robinson was there to hook it away, collided with his post. Here comes the Brentford corner, won by Collins at the far post. And behind him, Brentford, I think, no, it's going to be a goal kick. But the chances just in the last 5 minutes are coming Brentford's way, and that will be of great encouragement to Thomas Frank before the break. They've defended well, Brentford. They're sitting in, they're leaving Wissa up. They've got basically 10 behind the ball otherwise, but they do look like they're becoming more of a threat when they break on the counter.
They do, don't they, Chris? Tranmere Rovers 2-1 up against Salford. Christian Dennis with the goal. Let's find out how Watford are getting on. Nessa McGregor?
Well, I can tell you, Jason, it's 0-0, and this is a game that's been high on effort but low on quality so far anyway. Stoke do have a corner. Daniel Johnson swinging it in with his left foot, but that's come to nothing. There's been one chance worthy of note so far, and it came in controversial circumstances. There was a Stoke attacker who tackled a Watford defender. It looked to foul. Everyone stopped. The whistle never came. Andre Vidigal running in on goal, but his shot was blocked. So it's one of those games where if the ref blew on 45 minutes, I don't think no one would complain.
Goal for Coventry City, Ryan Bromelo.
Well, Coventry City haven't won a league game here in Swansea since 1950, and that could be about to change. They're taking the lead. Takahiro Sakamoto driving down the right-hand side, cuts it in. It's a low ball, held up by Haji Wright, and nestled into the bottom corner by Matty Godden. Coventry 1, Swansea 0.
Big chance for Wolverhampton Wanderers, Will Perry.
Yeah, it's a big chance. It's come down the left again. It's Fabio Silva who just stubs the ball forward for Ryan Aït-Nouri. He gets inside the box. It's on the half volley, and Ryan Nouri just side foots it a foot over Jason Steele's bar. Another big Wolves chance wasted. Wolves 0, Brighton 1.
That's a great opportunity. Should he be doing there?
Conflicting arguments.
Okay, well, what were you saying?
I'm thinking go laces and low. He's going, I'd have just dinked it over him. You see what I mean? Cultured.
Well, he's committed himself, James.
What do you say? Dink it over him or over the bar?
Just feel it. I said feel it over him.
Feel it over the keeper. Nice. To Ewood Park, Rich Wolfenden.
Yeah, it's still 0-0 between Blackburn and Hull, and you feel like Hull really need to make an opportunity here because they've got an extra man. Pickering was sent off with 17 minutes on the clock for Blackburn, but they're just not really making anything happen. Maybe something mentally stopping them. Remember, they've only won one away game in all of 2023. We've got about 5 minutes of normal time remaining, and it's still goalless.
Matt on camera 3, who's a big Sheffield Wednesday fan, wants to know how they're getting on. Nikesh Ragani.
It's not been a classic, this one, Jason. I've got to admit, it's still 0-0. Both sides with a chance each. Brad Potts with one early on for Preston North End, a close-range volley which was well saved by Vasquez in the Sheffield Wednesday goal. And then just a couple of minutes ago, Lee Gregory really should have scored for Sheffield Wednesday. He was through one-on-one with Freddie Woodman, but shot straight at the keeper. And apart from those two, Jason, it's been pretty dull. 5 minutes till half-time, and it remains 0-0.
Thank you, Nikesh. What a game at the Swansea.com Stadium. Another goal. Ryan Bromelo.
What a game, and what a response. It's Ashby this time on the right right-hand side. He flicks it towards the near post, and there is Jerry H, the new signing, who heads it home from close range. It's Swansea 1, Coventry 1.
Jerry H scored against Birmingham City on the opening day of the season. Talking of Birmingham City, Andy Stevenson.
Yeah, it's one of these frustrating matches, Jason. It's 0-0. There's lots of decent build-up play, but a lack of real quality in the final third. Bristol City just had their only real chance of the half from a corner. Anis Mehmeti swinging out the corner, met by the head of big centre-back Rob Dickey, but over the bar. Ethan Laird of Birmingham City has had to go off injured. He's been replaced by Koji Miyoshi. It's 0-0.
Will, the floor manager, is a Middlesbrough fan. I said, do you want to find out how Middlesbrough again? And he said no. There you are. What a fan, eh? What a big fan, Will. Outrageous. Mark Webber.
He's absolutely right to have that faith, because at the moment it's 0-0. Energy abound, Will, but exact target practice has been cancelled since we last spoke. No chances of note. The natives, like Will now, getting a little bit restless. Maybe they haven't got anybody who can score a lot of goals this season. Maybe it will be difficult. Similar situation at the other end, I have to say. Huddersfield have been getting themselves into promising areas, haven't been able to finish. 0-0.
We've got a couple of Sunderland fans in the gallery as well, Andy Sixsmith, today.
I tell you what, they'll be pleased watching Joe Bellingham. How many times have we said this? Bellingham is a baller. It's still 1-1, but the touch, the awareness, the kid's 17 years old. Something special, I tell you. Sunderland have had one more chance since you were last with me. Jack Clark in on his right, curled a shot narrowly over, but all about that. I tell you what, Jez, I finished way down the final score report at Goals League last year. This is actually a strong start. 1-1.
Good stuff, Andy. Thank you. To League One, Reading Stevenage, Joshua Adudonka.
Yeah, still Reading 0, Stevenage 0. This hasn't been a pretty watch, I have to be honest with you. Loads of yellow cards, injuries, and of course the sending off through Nathan Thompson. Since then, Reading have picked up the chances. The best fell to striker, Edo Batuman, but he couldn't convert. It's still Reading 0, Stevenage 0.
And let's go to Edgeley Park, Niall McGowan.
Well, there's a chance that a win and favourable scores elsewhere for Barrow Cadet today could see them go top of the table. Defeat for Stockport and bad results elsewhere could see them fall to the bottom. And County really should have the lead here at Edgeley Park. Isaac Alafe couldn't take advantage of his one-on-one with Josh Lillis or find the cutback necessary to find a teammate when he was in plenty of space. And Louis Barry also ran through on goal, only to be met by some last-ditch Barrow defending. Today's referee is called Peter Wright. He isn't running around with a mohawk and colourful trousers like the darts player, but he may as well be with the amount of attention this home crowd are giving him. Stockport 0, Barrow 0.
No Tony, no problem. Chris Wise.
It's a tight game. It's been a tight game. It needed something to open it up. What's opened it up is a terrible error from Issa Diop, the Fulham centre-half, because Brentford have lead the game. Johan Wissa's got the goal. Diop, I don't really know what he's doing. The ball is with him on the edge of his own penalty area. No real pressure on him at all. And he's played a pass that is so short, Issa Diop, with Wissa lurking around him. It comes back to Diop. He's just got the ball tangled underneath his studs. He's tried to help it on towards Ream, his fellow centre-back. It's really, really poor from Diop. Wissa's capitalised. Out came Leno. There was nothing he could do. Wissa's gone round him and then very calmly rolled the ball into the back of the unguarded net right before half-time. It's a complete gift for Brentford and for Wissa, and it's Fulham 0, Brentford 1.
Issa passes to Visa, you could say.
You could do, yes.
You could do. No one's going to use that anyway, but it was worth a go. Anyway, but I tell you something, it's a good finish. But what are Fulham doing at the back?
Well, it's just an individual error. The ball's coming, he's under no real pressure, and I just think Diop just goes to sleep for a second, and he's half playing it blind to the goalkeeper, gets the timings wrong, just catches it with his studs, and Vissa's on it like a flash. And you know, a game that has largely been in the middle of the park and a lack of real clinicalness in front of both goals, and as we know, both are missing their strikers. But Vissa there, he's jumped on an opportunity and 1-0.
But also, I watched that game at the weekend against Tottenham Hotspur as well. They look so good. They're so quick going forward, Brentford, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. They've got a lot of quality, and they do tend to make you pay if you do make mistakes. You know, forward-thinking players there. I mean, Vissa, this particular goal, the ball's just fell loose to him, just on the edge of the D. The keeper's confronted him. He's taken a touch past the keeper. Defender confronts him. He's taken a touch past the defender, and they are committed. You know, it's an easy finish in the end, but you know, composed.
It's a knock-on of mistakes, isn't it? Because Diop leaves it short, and then Leno wants to come out and try and engage.
Which he has to do.
He does to a certain extent, but that makes Visser's job easy.
Yeah,
Just knocks it round him, and it's an easy goal in the end.
Yep. OK, thank you. Let's go to Anfield. Ailey Barber.
Yeah, another great chance for Liverpool and another really strong save from Neto. The ball was worked out to the right-hand side. Trent Alexander-Arnold showing great composure, really good feet to cut inside, and his shot was pushed around the post from Neto. From the resulting corner, Virgil van Dijk with the towering header, but it was well wide. This game, it's still as open as it was from the very start. It's Liverpool now, though, who lead by that 2-1.
We have another goal at the King Power. Naz Prenji.
You're going to love this, Jason. Leicester 1, Cardiff 1. Aaron Ramsey oozing class from distance. He has hit a rocket into the top corner. It must be 30, 35 yards out. He celebrated like a good one from South Wales. Leicester 1, Cardiff 1.
Terrific stuff, Naz Premji. Thank you very much indeed. There he is, the captain of Wales. And let's go to Will Perry, half-time of Molyneux.
Wolves 0, Brighton 1, a marvellous Matoma goal. The difference with a quarter of an hour gone. The Japanese superstar picked the ball up just inside the Wolves half, waltzed through the Wolves defence and slotted into the bottom right past Sarr. Questionable defending, wonderful dribbling and a moment of Matoma magic. Fabio Silva wasted a huge chance for the home side, threaded through by Cunha but denied by the leg of steel in the Brighton net when he really had to score. Silva had one ruled out before that for offside. Nunes and Neto along with Ait Nouri have all had efforts off target for Wolves, and at the break, Wolves 0, Brighton 1.
Thank you, Will. Half-time in the Scottish League Cup. St Mirren, Motherwell, Kenny Crawford.
St Mirren 1, Motherwell 0, and a brilliant strike by Caelan Boyd-Munns is what separates the sides. A left-foot strike from 20 yards right into the top right-hand corner for the former Birmingham and Middlesbrough man has got them 1-0 up. Stephen Robinson, the St Mirren manager, going for their 6th win in a row in all competitions. He used to play for Spurs, Bournemouth and Luton, and he was Motherwell manager from 2017 to 2020. An interesting one for him. They've got the upper hand as they have their eye on the quarter-finals. St Mirren 1, Motherwell 0.
Well, I tell you what, it's a very good game at Craven Cottage for Chris Wise.
It is, and it's 1-0 to Brentford. I'm just looking at Issa Diop leaving the pitch. There's a grimace on his face because ultimately he's the difference, and not in the way that the Fulham defender would have liked, because he has gifted Brentford's goal in this first half right before the break. So little between the two teams, and then Diop playing a pass or an attempted pass across towards Tim Ream.
2-1. Semenyo with a shock Bournemouth lead after 3 minutes. That after a goal disallowed after 51 seconds. Van Dijk header against the crossbar, and then Diaz with the overhead kick after 28 minutes, and then a penalty, 8 minutes later. Your thoughts, Chris?
Yeah, very slow start from Liverpool, surprisingly slow start, and credit to Bournemouth for going in front. Semenyo with a really good strike, and then Liverpool, wouldn't say that. I mean, the goal was brilliant from Diaz, real innovation to get them back level, and then they built the momentum, dominated the rest of the half. Really soft penalty, undeserved as far as I can see, but Liverpool go in with their tails up.
Half-time then at Anfield. Liverpool 2, Bournemouth 1.
Birmingham have just taken the lead at Bristol City on the stroke of half-time. Koji Mayoshi with that goal. Bristol City 0, Birmingham City 1, and there's been a late goal in the first half at Reading. Becky Ives.
Charlie Savage from the corner, crossed the ball, and it was Kelvin Ihebatiaman that was there with the header straight into the top right-hand corner. It's Reading 1, Stevenage 0.
Let's go to Craven Cottage. Half-time, Fulham Brentford. John Southall.
Yes, goal right before half-time. A horrible mistake by Issa Diop means it's Fulham 0, Brentford 1. Not sure what Diop was trying to do. Either play it across to Ream or back to his goalkeeper. Got it all wrong. Stabbed his effort. Johan Wieser pounced, went round the keeper and the defender and tucked it in. Second of the season, 2-2. Who needs Ivan Toney? Before that, didn't think a goal was coming. Fulham dominated possession. 2 chances for Wieser before the goal. First a weak finish, second cleared off the line. Also, Mark Flacken in the Brentford goal, have to say, looks very shaky. Fulham 0, Brentford 1.
Rochdale have got a second in the National League at home to Eastleigh. Rochdale 2, Eastleigh 0. You'll do well to see a better goal today. Maybe the month, maybe the season, than the one scored at Molyneux. Pat Murphy.
by the Japanese winger Kaoru Mitoma for Brighton. Sensational goal after a quarter of an hour. Just evaporated, just eased like an eel past 4 desperate, flailing Wolves defenders. The calmest of finishes with his right foot. Magnificent goal, and he scored a few of those already for Brighton. They're the better team. They pressed so hard up front. They never gave Wolves defence a moment's peace, but Wolves missed 2 good chances. Silva hit the keeper's legs. Nouri finished like a fullback 6 yards out over the bar. It's Wolves 0, Brighton 1, but it's all about Mitoma.
Tottenham Manchester United at 5:30 is our full commentary. Earlier on in the Championship, in the lunchtime game, Plymouth 1, Southampton 2. Che Adams with the winner in second half stoppage time. To the bottom of the table, Middlesbrough against Huddersfield. Alistair Yeomans.
It's 0-0, numerous chances early on. Borough had the majority. New signing Emmanuel Latte-Lath had a shot saved, and Huddersfield keeper Lee Nichols also saved well from Hayden Hackney and Marcus Force. But Huddersfield also had some good chances, went close from Matty Pearson and Brahima Diarra. But no goals, and I must say the game subsided a little towards half-time, 0-0.
It's not the most free scoring of divisions this afternoon, the Championship. To QPR next, Aaron Paul.
No, QPR 0, Ipswich 0. Gareth Ainsworth promised a tough test and a tough first 45 it has been so far for Ipswich. Pressed, harangued, harried. They've been given a workout by the home side and a couple of scares. Twice Sinclair Armstrong has stolen possession deep in Ipswich territory. His first effort hit both posts and bounced away. His second produced an excellent save from the goalkeeper Sam Field. Has also seen a thumping header tipped over. At the other end, Ipswich have tried to play football with swagger. George Hurst has smashed their best chance over the bar. At the break, as you say, Mark, it's QPR 0, Ipswich 0.
All square there, all square at the King Power as well. Chris Coles.
It is. Leicester 1, Cardiff 1. 2 superb goals, lighting up a fairly drab game. Leicester in front thanks to a fine right-footed volley from Wanya Marçal, his first for the club. The Cardiff equaliser just before half-time. Vintage Aaron Ramsey. He scored some beauties in his career. This one right up there, 30 yards out, nothing really on. He slammed it into the top corner. Fancy it rivals Kaoru Mitoma's. Leicester 1, Cardiff 1.
Back to the 0-0s, Lee Blakeman.
Stoke 0, Watford 0. This game about as good as the scoreline suggests. Stoke have had the better of it. Andre Vidigal looking for his 4th goal in as many games. Could have had a couple. One shot well saved by Backman. Another deflected over the crossbar. Watford yet to threaten the Stoke goal at all. Very much Stoke 0, Watford 0.
Elsewhere in the Championship this afternoon, Blackburn 0, Hull 0, and Blackburn are down to 10 in that game as well. As we said a few moments ago at Ashton Gate, a late goal from Koji Mayoshi has given Birmingham the lead at Bristol City by a goal to 0. And in fact, they are the only team that are winning at the break in the Championship. Goalless between Sheffield Wednesday and Preston. Sunderland 1, Rotherham 1. Rotherham took the lead through Hakim Adolfin's second of the season. Joe Bellingham hit back straight away for Sunderland, and it's all square as well between Swansea and Coventry. Coventry going ahead through Matt Godden, that's his 3rd of the season. Swansea hitting straight back through Jerry Yates, signed in the summer from Blackpool. That's his 2nd of the season. Swansea 1, Coventry 1. Let's go into League One, where earlier it finished Bolton 0, Wigan 4. Bolton had won all 3 of their league games so far this season, but they were demolished this afternoon. Elsewhere at 3 o'clock, Barnsley 0, Oxford 1. It's goalless between Blackpool and Leyton Orient, and Cambridge and Bristol Rovers. Carlisle 0, Exeter 0. Charlton lead at the break at home to Port Vale. It's Derby 1, Fleetwood 0. Martin Waghorn with the goal there. Goalless between Northampton and Peterborough, and Portsmouth and Cheltenham. They're still playing at Reading, who lead 10-man Stevenage by a goal to 0. And it's also goalless between Shrewsbury and Lincoln, and Wickham and Burton. Let's go into League Two. We're at Stockport Barrow this afternoon. Niall.
Yes, it's 0-0 at half-time, Mark, and it's 10 years since Stockport last went 4 league games without a win at the start of a season. Back then they were a National League North side, and County really should have the lead here at Edgeley Park. 2 chances apiece for Isaac Alafe and Louis Barry, a combination of poor decision-making and decent defending keeping the score 0-0. And today's referee is called Peter Wright. He isn't running around with a mohawk and colourful trousers like the darts Leeds player, but he may as well be with the amount of attention this home crowd are giving him. Half-time, Stockport 0, Barrow 0.
Let's go back into League One and get details of Reading Stevenage. Becky Ives.
Reading 1, Stevenage 0. Right on the stroke of half-time, it was Kelvin Ehibatioman with the header from a Charlie Savage corner, but Reading have looked bang up for this, pressing, winning the ball back, looking really quick on the counter-attack. Heggie in the Stevenage goal has been busy, and he has kept the score just at 1-0. As for Stevenage, down to 10 men. Nathan Thompson with a second yellow. They've looked all at sea. Maybe a reality check. Welcome to League One, Stevenage. It's Reading 1, Stevenage 0.
Here are the other League Two half-times. Accrington are a goal up on Harrogate at the break. Sean McConville has got that one too for the season for him. Colchester came from a goal down to lead MK Dons 2-1 at the break. Joseph Taylor's got both Colchester goals, 4 for the season for him. Gillingham, who've won all 4 games this season, if you include the League Cup as well, lead at the break at Crawley by a goal to 0. Crew 0, Walsall 2. Doncaster 0, Notts County 1. Macaulay Langstaff with the Notts County goal there. Forest Green Rovers 0, Newport County 2. Will Evans has got off to a storming start for Newport this season. 6 for the season. Now he's got both of those goals this afternoon. Grimsby lead Mansfield by a goal to 0. Morecambe 1, Bradford City 0. Sutton 0, AFC Wimbledon 0. Tranmere lead Salford 2 goals to 1. And a very, very good first half for Swindon at the racecourse. It is Wrexham 1, Swindon 4. Charlie Austin amongst the goal scorers there. Back to the Championship. One game we're at where we didn't give you details of the first half. And even though it's 0-0, there have been incidents to bring you. Charlie Slater at Ewood Park.
There has been. Blackburn 0, Hull 0. Blackburn down to 10 men since the 16th minute when Harry Pickering clumsily brought down Hull striker Liam Delap. Last man, edge of his own box. No complaints. Couple of chances for Hull. One for Tufan, one for Twine. Otherwise, not taking advantage of their man advantage. Blackburn 0, Hull 0.
In the National League earlier, finished Chesterfield 1, Oldham 1. Oldham getting an equaliser late into second half stoppage time. Half time in all these other games: Aldershot 1, York City 0. Altrincham 1, Boreham Wood 0. Barnet 1, Woking 0. FC Halifax 1, Oxford City 0. Gateshead 1, Ebbsfleet 1. Kidderminster and Bromley are goalless, but Bromley are down to 10. Maidenhead 0, Dagenham and Redbridge 0. Rochdale lead Eastleigh 2-0, and Solihull Moors are also 2-0 up on Dorking. Southend 1, Hartlepool 1, and Wealdstone 1. AFC Fylde 1. Scottish League Cup going on today. Earlier, Rangers came from behind to beat Morton 2-1. In the games that kicked off at 3 o'clock, Adrionians 1, Ross County 3, Livingston 1, Ayr 0, and Kenny Crawford at St Mirren.
Time score: St Mirren 1, Motherwell 0. A frantic game in the side, separated only by Caelan Boyd-Munce's 9th minute strike, and what a goal it was. The ball broke to the Northern Irishman on the edge of the box and he thumped it left-footed right into the top right-hand corner. St Mirren and Motherwell both eyeing the quarter-final stage of this competition. St Mirren trying to get their 6th win in a row in all competitions. Their manager Stephen Robinson played for Spurs, Bournemouth and Luton. He also was Motherwell manager from 2017 to 2020, so this could be an interesting win for him if they hold on to half-time 1-0.
Elsewhere in Scotland in the Championship, Arbroath 0, Queen's Park 0. In League One, Hamilton looking to make it 3 wins out of 3. Leader Edinburgh City by a goal to 0. Kelty Hearts 1, Alloa 0. Montrose 0, Cove Rangers 2. Queen of the South 0, Annan 1. In League 2, Bonnyrigg Rose 1, Stranraer 0. Clyde 1, Peterhead 2. Dumbarton 0, Forfar 1. East Fife 0, Stenhouse Muir 1. And Spartans 0, Elgin 0. Let's go to Dave Woods at the Super League game between Lee and Catalan.
It's Lee 14, Catalan 12, the half-time score. Ben Nakabuwai burring his way over from close range on the hooter, giving that lead. Lee the lead again, Reynolds kicking the conversion. But Catalan have had 2 players sin-bin in the first half, Michael McElaurum and Mike McMeekan. They might feel a little hard done by, but it's Lee showing no signs of any come down from that Challenge Cup win last week, who lead the league leaders Catalan by 14 points to 12.
Let's switch codes, go to Rugby Union World Cup warm-up matches. Wales, South Africa. Molly.
Well, 35 minutes played here, Mark. Wales 9, South Africa 24. A long pause here as the TMO awarded Springboks a penalty try because of a deliberate knock-on from Wales wing Rio Dyer when the Springboks fullback Willie LaRue cross-kicked Keenan Moody.
Newcastle have not picked up a point at the Etihad since 2006. Some very optimistic Newcastle United fans are billing this one as a title decider. All in jest, of course. However, they could push Manchester City, couldn't they, this season?
I think they will go there with a little bit of belief, and it could be a statement of intent when they go there. I don't think they're going to sit back like we see a lot of teams do at the Etihad. I think they'll be strong. I think they'll go about their business the way they like to, and they'll have a go at Manchester City. They'll ask questions, especially with Kevin De Bruyne not fit.
Yeah, we'll learn a lot about Newcastle United tonight, won't we?
Yeah, we will. It's just whether they've got the concentration levels to be ready, because they won't have a lot of the ball. City will dominate the ball. How are they going to be out of possession? We've seen them in possession. They look good. They look good going forward. They look very powerful as well. Out of possession, organising, not having the ball. We'll see.
And the one thing we learned from Newcastle United last year, especially when they went to Old Trafford back in October, November time, they know how to slow the game down as well, don't they, Glenn?
Yeah, they do. I mean, listen, Newcastle, they're going to go there. They're a big stature. They'll be happy to a certain extent to sit in the 18-yard box and invite balls in, but they're big and then they've got legs on the counter-attack. Isaac, Harvey Barnes, they'll fancy themselves today. And I'm just seeing out the corner of my eye, I think Brighton have gone 2 up.
Yeah, well, why don't you do it to camera 2? Look to camera 2 and read off the autocue.
Will Perry, Molineux.
Lovely stuff, Glenn. Yes, you're going to enjoy this, mate, because your old team 2-0 up here at Molineux. It's Wolves 0, Brighton 2, and it's Estepinian who's got the second. Just, 40-odd seconds into this second half. It's a ball over the top from Solly March, played through Danny Welbeck. His shot is parried by Jose Sarr, but only into the path of Mitoma, who beautifully pulls it back for Estepinian, arriving inside the box and slots it past Sarr. 2-0 Brighton and cruising.
There's just no stopping them, is there, Dion?
No, they are relentless. They don't seem to have any fear. Again, Mitoma, the ball comes back off the keeper. It goes to Mitoma. Mitoma's on the corner of the 6-yard box. 9 out of 10 forwards are going to strike that towards goal. He pulls it back. Estepinian's there and he just side foots it in. Very, very aware footballer.
And by that time, Sarr's already scrambled to his near post. They've committed to that near post. He pulls it back and it's an easy tap in for Estepinian.
They seem to be really balanced well, don't they, Brighton?
That's come at a really good time for Brighton, because Wolves were on the ascendancy towards the end of the first half and they had a couple of really, really good opportunities.
Can I just ask you, from a goalkeeping perspective, whether Sarr's got to do better there? He kind of...
I think he palms it away to relative safety, but it's
Mitoma's cleverness.
It's Mitoma's cleverness
and
the amount of numbers that Brighton have got up and the options that have created in the 18-yard box, and it just undoes them eventually.
You half have to, if you do your job like that and palm it away to the corner of the 6-yard box, you half got to rely on your defenders then
to clear,
to give you a hand.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Right. Will the floor manager's not going to be happy at all because Huddersfield Town have taken the lead. Mark Webber.
An early start and an early goal for Huddersfield. They're 1-0 up. A corner in from Brahima Diarra. We thought it went straight in, but it actually caught a knock off the defender Dale Fry and went in. It'll be his own goal, and Huddersfield are 1-0 up.
Right, we're going to go back to our chat about this very big game they're all looking forward to tonight, Manchester City against Newcastle United. We've already established that we are going to learn so much about Newcastle United this evening, but also, I suppose, Dion, we're going to learn about Manchester City. Yes, they won the Super Cup in midweek, but Kevin De Bruyne are out. Ilkay Gundogan has gone. Riyad Mahrez has gone. But the one thing we know about Manchester City is they've got so much strength and depth.
Yeah, if there's one team in world football that don't have to prove anything to anybody, it's Man City. He churns out player after player. If they're not good enough, then you can sit back and listen. Just go and stay with David Silva and Bernardo Silva and watch them train. Phil Foden I'm talking about, and then he gets his time. So I don't fear for City at all. This will be a test, because I don't think Eddie Howe will sit back and say, all right, you have it. We're scared of you. I don't think that's going to happen. But I do believe that City will always find a way. I think Rodri's been outstanding. Gvardiol, great signing. So I can't see it being a problem for City.
Isn't it fantastic for the Premier League that already we've got a humdinger? Match week 2.
Yeah. Some game.
Yeah. It will be I think there'll be sparks in it. I really do. Like I say, I think Newcastle will go there and they'll half fancy their chances. But like Dion says, you can't write Manchester City off. They're fantastic at what they do. Yes, they've got a few personnel missing, but when you look, the strength in depth that they've still got is absolutely outstanding.
Huge.
OK, thank you very much indeed. The 5:30 kickoff sees Manchester United travel to Spurs, who began life without Harry Kane, and new manager Ange Postecoglou last week with an entertaining draw at Brentford.
it's a great challenge for us. I mean, the most important thing for us is it's our first home game in the Premier League, and obviously last week, like I said, we showed some really good characteristics in terms of our resilience. Tomorrow's about showing a little bit more of our football, and hopefully against a really strong opponent, trying to impose our game style. That's got to be our goal every week now, to see if we can improve the way we play our football and make an impact against the best teams. And that's our challenge tomorrow. I'm sure our fans will be up for it, so I'm looking forward to it. So from my perspective, it's more about sort of, we're at that stage where all our focus has to be on us and developing our football.
Yeah, what have you made of Ange Ball so far?
I like him. I like him a lot. I think he's handled the Harry Kane saga really well. And I think you look at the 2-2 at Brentford and you probably expect Spurs to win, but that's a difficult fixture going away to Brentford on the first day of the season. And I expect that if Manchester United turn up like they did on Monday night, I expect Spurs to run away with this.
Yeah. It's a big season for Richarlison, you get the feeling, Dion.
Yeah, because it's all about goals. If you're getting that number 9 position, then it doesn't matter how influential you are by holding the ball up and creating chances. It's about goals. And unfortunately for him, he's following one of the best in the business. So he has to score 20, 25 goals this season. Fact.
Can I throw at Will Perry again?
Yes, you can. Yeah.
Will Perry at Molineux, 3-0.
And there's a reason that Murray's smiling, because Brighton are 3-0 up, and it's Solly March who's on the score sheet. Gareth Southgate's watching this one. March has never had a sniff in an England squad. It's a wonderful ball, though, from Julio Enciso outside of the boot. Just curls it into the path of March, who cannot miss, and smashes past Sarr. Brighton cruising to the top of the Premier League table. 2 wins out of 2. 3-0 they lead at Molineux.
This is just amazing. You must be absolutely delighted. But how stylish are they in terms of the run and the finish as well, Glenn?
He's ran off somebody, I think.
I'm not sure who, but I mean, Enciso's got the ball on the left-hand side. He's played it into the middle of the area with the outside of his right foot, curl him back into Solly March's path, and Solly March just meets it with the plumb, put it high up into the middle of the goal as Sarr comes out to try and close him at his feet, and it's just classy football. It's enjoyable to watch, and it looks like they could run away with this game at the moment.
Do you think Solly March is one of the unsung heroes in this side?
You know what, with Solly March, he just seems to just give you performance after performance. You never hear about him doing interviews or doing things wrong or doing things right. Gets on about his footballing life. Always affects a football match for Brighton, whether it's goals or... They rely on him, don't they?
I think more so under Roberto De Zerbi. I think we're seeing him grow into more of a mature player with this guidance of the manager and a manager that believes in him, loves him, and I think he's seeing the best of Solly March.
But he ran 50, 60 yards there to get into a goal-scoring position. It wasn't a fact that he was going to get the ball. He ran, he sprinted past Ait Nouri, held him off, got into the box, wanted to score for the manager, for the club. Brilliant.
He makes a burst, doesn't he, Dion? Just as he's reaching the 18-yard box as well. Absolutely. And what a finish. Right, let's find out what's happening at Craven Cottage with Chris Wise.
Well, Fulham have just put together their best move of the game by an absolute mile. They've worked it really well out towards the right-hand side for Wilson, who had a couple of options. He had Tete coming one side, his little pullback. Reed set it. De Cordova-Reid, who got that winner at Everton last week, came onto it on the edge of the penalty area. Was a bit awkward for De Cordova-Reid because it was between his 2 feet. He took it with his left. It actually beat Flecken to his right-hand side and bounced off the top of the crossbar, but more encouraging for Fulham for sure.
Tranmere 2, Salford 2 is our latest score. We're going to check in on the EFL and some Fulham news. But first of all, can I get your views on the Glenn Murray presentation masterclass that we're seeing this afternoon?
I did say to him when he threw, a little bit more enthusiasm.
Oh, it's the second game of the season, Kel. It's about staying grounded and humble. It's 3-0 away from home. I don't want to rub salt into the wounds.
You know what? Also, a little bit of an insight for the listener. When you sit in your chair, it just says on your screen, it'll just say Will Perry at the Amex or at Molineux, wherever he is. But you know to say, if there's been a goal, to say goal. Glenn literally read Will Perry, Molineux.
Because they already knew there'd been a goal.
Kelly, do you know what it reminded me of?
What?
Seen that film Anchorman?
But Glenn,
can I throw again?
Oh,
Can
God.
I put
not
more
another goal?
enthusiasm
Go on,
into
please.
this?
Off you go.
Glenn.
Right,
Go on,
okay.
we're all behind
Stand by.
you.
Hang on a second. We'll do this up. Right, okay. You need to look to camera 3, which is there.
There we go. Right, there we go.
So that's a good start. You've looked at the right camera.
Goal at Molineux, 4-0 Brighton, Will Perry.
Get Solly March in the England squad. Gareth Southgate. What a goal this is. It's from the other side, and it's the same combination of Julio Enciso, who puts it right into the path of March, and he cannot miss when it goes in off the inside of the left upright. Beautiful, beautiful Brighton football. Wolves' heads have absolutely gone. It's down the middle from Welbeck, and Cissok's on the right-hand side. First time cross, awful Wolves defending. Semedo doesn't get near it. March gets the touch. Wolves are all over the shop, and Brighton are cruising here 4-0.
And what's so disappointing, Will is absolutely right there, what's so disappointing, Dion, is we have not seen the Wolverhampton Wanderers side that we saw on Monday night at Old Trafford.
Well, maybe that's because Brighton are playing better than United played, to be honest with you, and they're showing to be a better side. It's a brilliant finish from Solly March. It's the other side, it's the same foot, and he just, it's hard to explain. He waits for the keeper to go down, and he just slides it past the keeper in off the post. It's such a cultured finish.
He just lets it roll across him a little bit further, opens his foot out and just passes it in off the base of the post.
Looks so easy, but it's not.
It's another brilliant goal by Brighton.
This is the week where they've lost one of their best players as well. I mean, this, Brighton fans must be in dreamland, Glenn.
Yeah, they are at the moment, and it's sort of pinch myself time. And when is this going to end, especially with Europe on the horizon as well? It could be a really, really exciting season. Jess, can you give me a bit of feedback on my throw to camera?
Yeah, I can.
Is it getting better?
Let's go to Kelly. Well, you looked at the right camera once you started. That's good.
Thank you, Kelly.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, fine. Okay. Apparently we're going to Anfield. I didn't know. Anyway, Ailey Barber.
I'm so confused as to what's going on right now with you lot. Right, here at Anfield, though, I do know what's going on here. It is still Liverpool that lead by 2-1, and it is them that have been the dominant side since the break. They've had a couple of real opportunities. Jota had one sliced wide. Mo Salah was played through, but his effort was tame and straight at Neto, and Gakpo had a couple of efforts well blocked. They have certainly come out of the traps firing. Bournemouth did have a chance through Semenyo. He showed great feet and great strength, but his shot went over the top of the crossbar. But they have been pinned back really for the first time in this game. It's all Liverpool so far this second half. They still lead by 2-1.
Bellingham is making the headlines at the Stadium of Light. Andy Sixsmith.
Oh, what's that about England squads? When will Joe Bellingham be donning the Three Lions shirt? He's doubled the lead, or he's made the lead for Sunderland, who lead 2-1. This is a really nice goal. Good patient build-up down the right. The ball was laid into the penalty area. Nice layoff, and Bellingham just took his time and curled a beautiful finish into the left bottom-hand corner of the net. He's got the head of a 28-year-old midfielder, and he was born in 2005. It's sickening. It's Sunderland 2, Rotherham 1.
Magnificent stuff. And a goal for Stoke City, Nesta McGregor.
And not a bad goal at all, Jason. The home side lead, the second half, which has produced so much more than the first already. Good work down the right-hand side of the Stoke box from Josh Laurent across into the box. It found its way to Andre Vidigal. His first touch was to chest it down. His second was to volley it into the roof of the net. Stoke currently on the attack again, looking threatening. 1-0 to the home side.
And what's happening at Hillsborough? Nikesh Regani.
Preston North End have taken the lead here, and it's come courtesy of a set piece. It was a lovely free kick from Kean Best just to the left of the penalty area, floated in towards the far post, and Liam Lindsay about 4 yards out, unmarked, couldn't miss, slammed his header into the bottom corner. It's Sheffield Wednesday 0, Preston 1.
Any more chances at Craven Cottage in the Premier League, Chris Wise?
Here's Wilson shooting low. That was a chance for Fulham. That was a decent hit as well. Harry Wilson, great timing from you, Jace. Raced onto it. The ball fell really kindly to him, about 23 yards out, and the Welshman hit it firmly and low, and actually it was decent hands in the end from Flecken, the Brentford goalkeeper. But the chances are coming now for Fulham. The game's opening up a bit. It was really tight in the first half. It doesn't feel that way so much now in the second. But Fulham needs something. They're still trailing 1-0.
Oxford United had a good win in midweek, and they're 2-0 up against Barnsley, and Mansfield have equalised against Grimsby Town. Kelly's got some Fulham news for us.
Yes, we're actually going to give it this time rather than rating Glenn Murray's presenting performance. Yes, Fabrizio Romano has provided an update on the potential future of star striker at Fulham, Alexander Mitrovic. He has tweeted that Alexander Mitrovic to Al Hilal, here we go. 3-year deal agreed weeks ago. There's also green light from Fulham for the package worth more than 50 million euros. Documents being checked today in order to be signed. The flight booked tonight after a medical in Paris, and it will be a contract until 2026. A reminder, the Serbian striker scored 14 goals in the Premier League for Fulham last season, 43 championship goals in 44 matches as they won promotion to the top flight the season before. Marco Silva said yesterday in his pre-match press conference nothing had been agreed, but potentially big news from Fulham. And of course, it kind of makes sense what you were saying before about them potentially preparing for life without him, with Raul Jimenez.
Yes, absolutely. Kelly, thank you very much indeed. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Red card at Anfield, Ailey Barber.
And it's a red card for Alexis McAllister, straight red card from the referee. Liverpool have been on the attack. There'd been a good effort from Jota, and Bournemouth were coming out of defence. The ball was to Ryan Christie, and it looked like McAllister went in with a straight leg and caught Ryan Christie around the knee area. I'm just getting a replay of it now. I'm not sure. I think this one might go to VAR, and I think it might be downgraded because I think in real time it perhaps looked a little bit stronger and a straighter leg and studs up. Initially when I saw it, I thought red. I've now seen the replay. I think possibly a yellow. We'll see what happens here. Ryan Christie getting some treatment at the moment, so no VAR decision has been made yet, although I think the referee has just put his finger to his ear. So we'll see what happens with this one, but it was a straight red from the on-field referee for Alexis McAllister, who is now at the moment wandering towards the tunnel area. So come back to me on this one. I'll let you know if anything else happens.
Yeah, Ailey, thank you very much indeed. Right, what do you make of it? Glenn and Dion, you've seen a couple of replays. Dion, you go first.
No, not for me. Downgraded. I think Ailey got it absolutely spot on. Downgraded to a yellow. It's a high foot. For me, there's no malice in it. If you are going to put your studs in, you do it with a straight leg. Your foot goes forward like so. He's tried to play the ball with his side foot. If anything, he's in danger of getting hurt because he's gone side-footed. I don't think it's a red at all. I think it's a yellow at the very, very worst. They've both got high feet. They've both gone for the ball. Yellow for me.
Glenn?
It's like a mirror image of both coming together in identical patterns, and he just gets there a second before McAllister, and for me that has never been a red card, and I believe it will be overturned.
Okay, well he is off though.
Yeah, he is off,
It stands, the red card stands, so Alexis McAllister has been sent off, and I think there's a goal at Wolves, Will Perry?
Well, we've got a VAR check, but you can hear the cheer now because it has been given, and it's Hwang who's headed in what surely will just be a consolation over an hour played here at Molineux. A header at the far post, nestled into the bottom right corner after Lamina and Cunha both hit the woodwork. So Hwang making it 1-4 for Brighton.
Yep, and I think we're about to see a new Liverpool signing, Ailey Barber.
Yeah, well, that red card for Alexis McAllister, which does stand. He's gone up the tunnel. Play has resumed. It does mean, though, that we're going to get a first look, and these Liverpool supporters are going to get a first look at their new signing, Wataru Endo. He is a defensive midfielder or a centre-back. We assume he will go into that defensive midfield role. That's what he was signed for. With no McAllister on the pitch, there's a little bit of, should we say, not too much of a defensive-minded player in this current Liverpool midfield or forward area. So Endo is going to come on. I'm not sure who he's going to replace as yet, but it will be a debut for the boy who joined from Stuttgart just a couple of days ago.
Thank you, Ailey. It's going to be a lot of fun watching Wrexham this year. It's now 4-3 at the racecourse. You might have just seen that go through. James Wilson has equalised for Port Vale at Charlton Athletic as well. In fact, Ethan Chislett has put Vale 2-1 up at Charlton.
And gave it all that he could, and then just a few seconds ago Latilath nearly made it 2-1. He's blocked. The Riverside is now bouncing. Will, you'll be delighted to know.
And there's a penalty at Craven Cottage, Chris Wise.
Yeah, it's a penalty to Brentford. They're already leading 1-0. They might have a chance to extend their lead here. Tim Ream is the offender. He is the one that is looking towards referee Darren Bonds with some concerns, some questions as well. It was just as Johan Wisser was about to shoot. He took it down on his thigh, Wisser. He was about 8 yards out, and Ream is sort of up behind Wisser. And as he was about to pull the trigger, Ream has leant into him. Wisser's gone tumbling, and referee Darren Bond says penalty. So whether this is going to be looked at, there is a yellow card here, I think, for Harrison Reed, perhaps for something that he's said as well. But it doesn't look at the moment like the decision is going to be overturned. I can see that Darren Bond at the moment has got his finger in his ear as if he's receiving some instructions from the VAR, which is Darren England, by the way, this afternoon. There are several Fulham players at the moment around the official, and we know already, of course, that Brentford with that goal from Yohan Wissa in the first half. They actually got a penalty last week too against Tottenham, which they scored through Brian Mbemo, who's still on the pitch now, so maybe he'll be the one to take this spot kick. There is still lots of Fulham players around the referee here, so maybe you chaps just want to have a quick chat about this before you come back for the penalty.
Yeah, absolutely. I can also tell you that Liverpool have scored again, as you can see on the video printer. Diogo Jota with the goal. We'll go there very shortly. But Dion, your view on the penalty incident, Fulham-Brentford?
No pen for me. I think he's leaning into Reed, and he's just he's lost his balance. Ream, sorry, he's lost his balance. He tried to strike, he gets it wrong. I don't think it's a pen.
It looks like it's going to stand though, Glenn.
I find that incredible. Ream can't really do much less, to be honest. Wissa steps into him, he swings the leg, it misses the ball completely. It's a bit comical, if anything, and I think
red card.
Why is Ream going off now?
Red card.
Wow. In fact, let's find out. Chris Wise, why is Ream going off?
He'd already been booked, Tim Ream. He got booked in the first half, and clearly Darren Bonders deemed that the challenge was worthy of a second yellow card, so he's been cautioned twice. So Fulham are down to 10, the penalty stands, and now Brentford have the chance to extend their advantage in this West London derby. And Brian Mbemo was so cool in Tony-like manner to score that penalty against Spurs last week, with the chance to make it 2-0 to Brentford. Here comes Mbemo, stutters, scores via the post, and Brentford have another one at Fulham. They're 2-0 up, and with 10 men, it's a long way back for the home team from here. Fulham 0, Brentford 2.
Absolutely fantastic penalty, but you get the feeling they've been hard done by there.
Really hard done by, and even more to rub salt into the wounds, Ream getting sent off. They're up against 10 men now. It's very, very tough decision that for me. When they're looking at it on VAR, I can't quite understand why it's not been overturned.
I wonder whether Marco Silva might find himself in a bit of hot and bother here in a second, because it looks like he's having a right go at the front.
Well, I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised either, to be honest with you. I mean, Ream did very little. He went over. Of course there's contact, of course there is, but I just think
brilliant penalty, by the way.
It's a great pen. You're not saving that. Two keepers aren't saving that, but we know how good he is.
Yeah. Right then, details of that goal by Jota at Anfield with Ailey Barber.
Yeah, what a timely time it was to score that goal as well, right after Alexis McAllister was sent off, and Trent Alexander-Arnold driving forward. He took an effort from just outside the box. It deflected. Neto was able to get down and get a finger to it, but it just fell so kindly for Jota, who tapped it in to the empty net. We do now have Wataru Endo on the pitch. He replaced Cody Gakpo, and a couple of attacking changes as well for Bournemouth, who were obviously trying to take advantage of Liverpool going down to 10 men just before Liverpool scored. But Justin Clivert and Kiefer Moore are both on for them as Liverpool go looking for a fourth, but that has been cleared outside the box. It is Liverpool 3, Bournemouth 1, and yeah, what a second half. This game has been great.
Yeah, and you have to say as well, Glenn and Dion, what a fantastic response, Dion, from Liverpool, losing Alexis McAllister, and then they score within a couple of minutes.
Yeah, that's just what you want. It probably felt hard done by, to be honest with you, and the manager said, right, let's get the job done. You know, they've all had to go through the gears, and a little bit more effort when you're down to 10, a little bit more effort, a little bit more concentration, and the quality's shown.
I think that down in the dressing room, McAllister just breathing a sigh of relief for one of his teammates, just getting him out of a little bit of trouble, leaving them in the lurch with 10 men. Bournemouth would have probably fancied the chances from this stage, but that third goal probably puts it to bed now.
Yeah, strong challenge by Kilman at Molineux, Will Perry.
Yeah, strong challenge, two big boys. Max Kilman on Evan Ferguson, the 18-year-old 6'2" striker who's just come off the bench for Brighton. He's up, he's walking round, he's going to come back on Ferguson, but Kilman had to get there with his head, and they've just caught heads a little bit, and Ferguson was down for a couple of minutes, but he's up and going to continue, and Wolves trying to get something from this game. The Hwang header has given them a little bit of a chance, but they're 4-1 down.
Reading are now 2-0 up. Joshua Adedonka.
Yeah, racing to back-to-back wins, it seems. Reading 2, Stevenage 0. Caven batting man again. An easy finish for the striker. Amadou Bang steamed down the right-hand side. Low shot that spills the banner to put into a free net. Reading 2, Stevenage 0.
Joshua, we are going to take a very quick break, so viewers on BBC One can join us. If you're watching on the iPlayer, the BBC Sport website, app or red button, stay exactly where you are. We'll see you very Good afternoon, welcome to Final Score on a huge weekend of football. The Lionesses are going for World Cup glory tomorrow morning, but today we are in the thick of the action across the divisions here on Final Score. 3 Premier League games at 3 o'clock today and a full programme in the EFL and Scottish League Cup with Dion Dublin and Glenn Murray. You will not miss a thing between now and full time with analysis and reaction to follow. First, let's get around the grounds. We start at a cracker at Anfield. Ailey Barber.
Oh, it's been a brilliantly open game, this one, and it was Bournemouth who flew out of the traps. Jadon Anthony denied an opener in the first minute by the offside flag, but they did go ahead moments later. Liverpool all over the place defensively, and Antoine Semenyo took full advantage to fire into the bottom corner. Plenty of chances for both sides, but Liverpool did draw level. And it was some individual brilliance from Diaz, teeing himself up to volley over the shoulder and past Neto. A question mark over a potential penalty for the visitors, but nothing given. Then up the other end, Szoboszlai tripped in the box by Rothwell. This one was given. Mo Salah hit the top corner at the second attempt after his first was saved. Then real controversy in the second half. Alexis McAllister shown the red card for a challenge on Christie. At first glance, I thought it could have been, but having seen it back, I am surprised it wasn't downgraded to a yellow. See what you think on Match of the Day tonight. Moments later, though, and Liverpool were 2 ahead. Jota putting them 3-1 in front. It's been really open, this game. Liverpool down to 10. Bournemouth have got attackers, have gone attacking in this second half. It could be an interesting finish to this one. I don't think it's completely over yet, but it is Liverpool with a bit more comfortable cushion as they lead by 3-1.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed, Ailey. We'll get Glenn and Dion's view on that sending off in just a moment. First, let's go to Molineux and hear about the league leaders, Brighton Hove Albion. Will Perry.
Well, Glenn Murray is going to like this one, isn't it? Because it's Wolves 1, Brighton 4. Roberto De Zerbi's side, as you said, heading for the top of the Premier League. 2 wins out of 2. They scored 4 last week against Luton, remember. You've got to check out Match of the Day for Matoma's moment of magic when he gave the visitors the lead. The Japanese superstar picked up the ball just inside the Wolves half. He waltzed through the Wolves defence and slotted into the bottom right past Sarr. And then 3 goals in 9 minutes. Welbeck denied by Sarr, who palmed into the path of Matoma. He cut back for Estepinian, who side-footed in seconds into the second half. That one made in FPL heaven. March then turned in 2 Enciso crosses. One from the left, smashed in from close range. The other from the right, in off the inside of the post. And Hwang has pulled one back with a header for Wolves, but it's Wolves 1, Brighton 4.
Thank you, Will. And Brentford are 2-0 up at Craven Cottage. Details from Chris Wise very, very shortly. And we'll talk to Glenn and Dion in just a moment about what's happening in the Premier League. First, a goal at Ewood Park in the Championship. Rich Wolfenden.
And would you believe it, it is the 10 men of Blackburn Rovers who've got the goal. It's the substitute, Sam Gallagher. The ball just bobbled his way after a quick breakaway. Niall Ennis tried to get his shot off. He couldn't because he was tackled. And then Gallagher was there to slam it into the back of the Hull goal. Blackburn 1, Hull 0.
Good afternoon then to Dion and to Glenn. What a thrilling afternoon so far in the Premier League. I have to ask you, Dion, first of all, Alexis McAllister, hard done by?
I think so. It was... What it was literally just 2 loose legs coming to side foot the ball, same height. He's there fractionally later. There's no malice in it at all. It's not a straight leg. Both subs are. I don't think it was. I think it's a yellow card at most, to be honest.
And you're both in agreement, aren't you?
Yeah, agreed. Like Dion said, just beat McAllister to the ball. It's soft, isn't it?
Absolutely.
At best.
However, what a great game.
Yeah, listen, Liverpool have shown a little bit of mettle, I've got to say. They really have. They've had to dig in. One of their main men goes off. A lot of time left on the clock, but they've stuck together. The manager's had them in a little huddle while the referee's doing what he's got to do, passing on a few more messages, and they've taken it on board, and they've played more like Liverpool with 10 men than they did with 11.
How worried should Liverpool fans be about how they're looking defensively, especially how they started the game?
Well, they made the game really difficult for themselves early on. They conceded a goal that was just given offside, just a slight offside, and then it was a terrible error from Alisson, nearly made it 2-0 as well. So really bad at the back to begin with, but they've recovered well and leading 3-1. It's been a good afternoon, I suppose, for Liverpool.
Glenn Murray, would you like to talk about the Premier League leaders?
I would indeed, thank you, Jason. Brighton have been exceptional all afternoon, especially Karim Matoma. His goal in the first half was exceptional, absolutely brilliant goal. Dribbles from almost the halfway line, right through the heart of the Wolves' defence. Hatem Ben Arfa and finishes it with aplomb, but their whole round game has been brilliant. They've bossed Wolves from start to finish. and they've been clinical when it's needed to be, and they've been an absolute pleasure to watch.
Absolutely. Right, keeping you right up to date with all the action in the EFL. Ipswich Town, 2 wins out of 2. There's been a goal at Loftus Road. Chris Latcham.
Perfect start, and this goal looks like continuing it. They've not had the best of this game, but Connor Chaplin has them in front against Queen's Park Rangers. He needed 2 bites of the cherry, and as he was falling over, got a little toe end on the ball and managed to take the ball past Begovic right in front of the 3,000 travelling Ipswich fans. Top of the league and loving it.
Yes, they are indeed. To Craven Cottage and Chris Wise.
They're looking dangerous again here, Brentford. In fact, every time they're getting at this Fulham defence, they're causing a problem. It's Bemo on the right-hand side. Robinson's just about done enough to see it out. But from here, to be honest, 13 minutes to go at Craven Cottage. 10 men with that sending off of Ream as well. It's a long, long way back for Fulham.
OK, let's go into the Championship. Huge game at the King Power, and that's Prenji.
Leicester City 1, Cardiff City 1. Goals from Wanya Marsal and a blockbuster strike from distance from Aaron Ramsey, who's just gone off to a huge round of applause. He's one of our own, they're shouting, the Cardiff fans. He scored a great goal. Yaku Mete went close for the visitors. It's end-to-end. Leicester 1, Cardiff 1.
Bristol City 1-0 down against Birmingham City and Ashton Gate, and they're down to 10. Robert Dickey sent off with 14 minutes to go. Let's go to the Bet365. Nesta McGregor.
Stoke 1, Watford 0. The home side's goal very much coming against the run of play, Jason, but some finish. Andre Vidigal, his 4th of the season already, plucking the ball out of the air with his first touch. His second, it's about 10 yards out, half volley, finding the roof of the net. Before that, Watford has had the better of the chances. Yasser Asprilla with a header, then a mazy run and a shot that ended with the keeper saving it well. Mateus Martins has had a good low shot for the away side, saved as well. Both sides with multiple substitutions. Watford have made all 5 of theirs, including Tom Ince, who used to play here, getting booed and applauded. A much better second 45 after a lacklustre first half. Still Stoke 1, Watford 0.
Thank you, Nesta. Sheffield Wednesday finding life back in the Championship. Very tough, Nikesh Ragani.
Yep, still yet to pick up a point, and they're 1-0 down here to Preston North End at home. It was a dull first half. The second half kicked off with Preston scoring from a free kick from Kean Best, which was headed in by Liam Lindsay at the far post from close range. That, though, seems to have woken up Sheffield Wednesday. They've been a lot more aggressive. They've had a lot more energy about themselves as well. A couple of substitutions, although one bit of bad news for them is that new signing Momo Diaby, who was in the starting 11 today, has gone off with what looks like a pretty serious impact injury. So we'll keep an eye on that. But it's Sheffield Wednesday 0, Preston 1.
Fine start to the season for Birmingham City, Andy Stevenson.
Yes, 2 unbeaten records at stake here, and Birmingham lead today with Bristol City now down to 10 men after Rob Dickey has just been shown his second yellow. The goal was Koji Miyoshi's first for the Blues just before the break. He came on as a sub for the injured Ethan Laird and pounced on a ball that fell to him in the area. We almost had a second for Birmingham a short time ago. A brilliant run by Juninho Bacuna, gliding past players Matoma-like, but his shot clipped the outside of the post. Bristol City boss Nigel Pearson dropped Mark Sykes and Naki Wells, but they're both on now as subs as the home team look for an equaliser. Birmingham look content to counter-attack. Bristol City 1, Birmingham City 0.
Back into the Premier League. It's been a Matoma masterclass, Will Perry.
Yeah, he's been brilliant, and he's just come off and he's been congratulated by his manager, Roberto De Zerbi. This guy is absolutely class, isn't it? Let's just hope, if you're a Brighton fan, that he's not the next one off the block. But if he does go, you're looking at what, 70, 80, 90 million plus. Outstanding. And his goal, look at it on Match of the Day tonight. Brilliant. Lallana has just come on, as well as the new signing Dahoud, who was a free agent after spending quite a lot of time at Borussia Dortmund. And Brighton cruising towards the 3 points. We're inside the last 10 minutes here. Wolves 1, Brighton 4.
Yeah, thank you, Will. Match of the Day with Gary, 10:20 tonight. BBC One, BBC iPlayer. To the Riverside, Mark Webber.
Middlesbrough 1, Huddersfield 1. When Neil Warnock finished managing Middlesbrough, he said he would retire. The locals wish he had, because he went on to manage Huddersfield, and they've been a thorn in Borough's side all this game. They opened the scoring when Diarra Corners was forced in as an own goal by Dale Fry. Hayden Hackney's equaliser was a powerful shot, which was much needed to keep Middlesbrough in the game. At the moment, it's 1-1.
Bellingham is making all the headlines at Sunderland. Andy Sixsmith.
Oh, I'll tell you what, Jace, it's not Bellingham at the Bernabeu, it's Bellingham as a black cap, because 17-year-old Job is the reason it's Sunderland 2, Rotherham 1. Hakeem Adoffin gave the Millers the lead before Bellingham blossomed, nodding in his first ever league goal for 1-1, before threading a first-time finish into the bottom corner to put Sunderland on the verge of their first win of the season. Big day for Bellingham, but obviously a monumental moment tomorrow for the Lionesses in the World Cup final. And with 40,000 fans here today at the Stadium of Light, I've seen plenty of little boys and girls in Lioness tops today. That is legacy right there. That is football right there. And it's brilliant to see. Sunderland 2, Rotherham 1.
Thank you, Andy. Goal at Ewood Park. Rich Wolfenden.
Yeah, and it's an equaliser. The 11 men are back in it Blackburn 1, Hull 1, and it's Aaron Connolly, a lovely finish, a delightfully dinked, chipped through ball, and Aaron Connolly was there about 7 yards out on the volley to slam it into the back of the net. And that chanting you can hear is from the away end. It's Blackburn 1, Hull 1.
From the northwest to South Wales, Ryan Bromelo.
It's Swansea 1, Coventry City 1, and the Swans just can't get that final pass right. It's Perot who's teased with Serge and runs in behind, but both attempts to find him are just a yard ahead. Godden got the opener for the Sky Blues, cancelled out by Swansea's Jerry Yates, but much tighter from the host, who shipped 5 from set pieces before today. Arsenal loanee Charlie Patino has had some neat touches on his first start, as has Hadji Wright, but the American was lacking cutting edge and he was replaced by Ellis Sims. Still, Swansea 1, Coventry 1.
Let's go into League One. Good afternoon so far for Reading. Joshua Adedonka.
Reading 2, Stevenage 0. Reading are heading for back-to-back wins as it stands in a week where they were deducted a point for failing to play players last season. Kelvin and Batiat has got 2 either side of half-time. Stevenage are down to 10 players after Nathan Thompson was sent off for 2 yellows in the first half. Stevenage came into this game back with 3 wins. That 100% record is coming to an end. Reading 2, Stevenage 0.
And to Edgeley Park in League 2, Niall McCaughan.
Well, Stockport have had a surge of chances in this second half. They've absolutely battered the Barrow back line, and Barrow's resistance was broken thanks to Louis Barry's strike from inside the box, and that goal may have set last season's losing playoff finalists on their way to a first league win of the season. Barrow chances have been few and far between, but don't write them off. Late goals have been a feature of the Cumbrians' bright start to the season. Stockport 1, Barrow 0.
Thank you, Niall. Lots of goals in the EFL to tell you about. Kelly's here with the latest. Afternoon, Kelly.
Good afternoon, Jason. I just want to touch upon one thing in the Championship because we have just been round our reporters there. Ipswich Town. We started the day with 2 teams on 100% records in the Championship. They were Leicester City, who have been held by Cardiff City, and Ipswich Town. Ipswich, as it stands, are going to be the only team with a 100% record, and it's 12 years since a team promoted into the Championship won their first 3 games. They've been remarkable, and if you watched Ipswich Town last season, you probably won't be too surprised to see them doing that well. As in League One, there were 3 100% winning records at the start of the day. We've lost 2 of them, though, because in the early kick-off, Wigan beat Bolton by 4 goals to 0. Before today, Bolton had won all of their games by a 3-goal margin. They'd only conceded 1 solitary goal. Well, Wigan won that one by 4 goals to 0. A reminder, Wigan started the season on minus points. They're already out of the relegation zone on 2 points, and they are unbeaten. What a start to life in League One for them. Stevenage's 100% record does look like it's coming to an end. They are 2-0 down, as we were hearing, to Reading. A really difficult week for them off the pitch as well, too. They got a point deduction after failing to pay the wages. Can Peterborough find a way to get a goal in this one and keep their 100% record up? They are facing local rivals Northampton Town this afternoon. As you can see, a few other goals to tell you about there. Charlton have now equalised against Port Vale. It was Alfie May who put them in the lead. Port Vale took the lead. They turned it around to make it 2-1, but it is 2-2 there now. Alfie May, the reason I mentioned him is he signed from Cheltenham Town and moved to Charlton in the summer. That was his first goal for his new club. Into League Two. I tell you what, if you watched anything in the National League last season, you will know that both Wrexham and Notts County were always incredible value. Look at this. Wrexham are losing by 5 goals to 3. That means there has been 24 goals in Wrexham's first 4 games in League Two. The next most is Crewe with 17. They do also, though, have the worst defence in the EFL. As it stands, whatever happens, though, at least their games are entertaining. Charlie Austin was on target in this one as well. A nice little fact for you. Ben Foster is in the Wrexham goal. Back in 2014, Austin scored a hat-trick against Foster in the Premier League when Austin was playing for QPR and Foster was playing for West Brom. As for Notts County, they are certainly settling back into the EFL, far better than Wrexham. 3-0 up against winless Doncaster, and Langstaff has got 2 goals in that. He scored 42 goals in non-league last year as well. And a shout-out for Gillingham. What a start to the season for them. They are 1-0 up against Crawley Town. They could become the first side in Football League history to win the opening 4 games by a goal to 0. They've only ever started one season in their history with 4 wins as well. So Neil Harris overseeing a brilliant start to the season there. And also off the pitch, Forest Green, not their day-to-day, losing 2-0 at home to Newport County. But you may have heard that former Watford and Birmingham City striker Troy Deeney has signed for Forest Green. And talking of Birmingham, let's go there now. They are facing Bristol City, and Andy Stevenson, there's been a goal.
It's 2-0 to Birmingham City. Kelly, last week Lukas Jutkiewicz came on as a substitute and scored that penalty against Leeds United that had Tom Brady purring. Well, this week Jutkiewicz has come on as a sub and made it 2-0. It was a simple finish for the substitute, and Birmingham City's unbeaten record goes on. It's Bristol City 0, Birmingham City 2.
At least Troy Deeney will be happier with that one. He is, of course, a boyhood Birmingham City fan because his current side, Forest Green, are 2-0 down. He's come on as a second-half substitute there, Jason.
The Blues have started so well, haven't they?
Exciting times.
Absolutely. Kelly, thank you very much indeed. It is Scottish League Cup day today. Let's get the latest from St Mirren Motherwell with Kenny Crawford.
Jason, it's been frantic football in the wind and the rain here in Paisley, but it's St Mirren who have their 1-0 lead thanks to Caelan Boyd-Munce's first half strike, and what a strike it was. It's worthy of winning this game if that turns out to be the case. Motherwell going for it though, shooting towards their own fans, 1,500 of them gathered in the away end. Dan Casey, Theo Bair and Mika Biarret on loan from Arsenal have gone close, but still 1-0 to St Mirren.
Thanks, Kenny. Earlier, Rangers took on the Scottish Championship Greenock Morton. This one was watched by Gavin Wallace.
Rangers 2, Greenock Morton 1, and no need to mention the first half. It certainly wasn't a classic, although Morton held their own. Just a little bit more to talk about in the second half. Morton opened the scoring for the penalty spot after VAR was involved. Kurt Broadfoot was fouled by Cyril Dessers inside the box. Captain Grant Gillespie stood up as cool as you like and slotted well beyond Jack Butland. VAR intervened again on the hour mark as Broadfoot, with the smallest of tugs, fouled Leon Balogun. Dessers stood up to level things, and then 8 minutes later, £6 million striker Danilo found himself the subject of a nice through ball. He dropped the shoulder and put it well beyond Jamie McDonald. Rangers through to the next round. It wasn't pretty, and probably more questions than answers from Michael Beale. It finishes here at Ibrox. Rangers 2, Greenock Morton 1.
From the Scottish League Cup back to the Premier League. You know, Bournemouth are 3-1 down, Ailey Barber. They've had their chances.
They have indeed, particularly in the first half, but they've just had their best chance of the second half. A brilliant move from the middle out onto the right-hand side. David Brooks on as a substitute, picked out Solanke beautifully, and his effort rifled but straight at Allison, who saved really well. I'm not sure how the follow-up didn't end up in the back of the net, but Liverpool were spared. A couple of little concerns for Liverpool as well. Diaz just gone down in the centre of the pitch. He's now gone off and been replaced, and Trent Alexander-Arnold also hobbling off a wee while ago and has looked to have got some treatment on the substitutes bench. So a couple of perhaps concerns for Liverpool, but yeah, they have rode their luck a little defensively today. Bournemouth, though, not quite able to punish them as much as they perhaps could have done, and it is Liverpool who lead by 3-1.
What a comeback from Hull City, Rich Wolfenden.
Well, 5 minutes ago the away end was dancing. They're now replicating something of a mosh pit at Glastonbury because they're going crazy in the away end. It's Rovers 1, Hull 2, and it's Aaron Connolly once again slotting home a one-on-one with all the composure in the world. A couple of minutes and Hull are on course to win their second away game of 2023.
We've nearly had an extraordinary goal at Loftus Road, Chris Latcham.
It would have been super extraordinary, this one, Jason. Remember David Beckham against Neil Sullivan? Well, Ilias Chair went for exactly that from just inside the opposition half. He had a bang from halfway. Václav Hladaký managed to scramble his way back and just tip the ball over. Would have been a magical moment. Ipswich still lead 1-0 with just a few minutes left.
9 minutes of added time at Molineux. Will Perry.
Oh, that's going to get tedious, isn't it, throughout the rest of the season? But yeah, there we go. 9 more minutes to play here. Still Wolves 1, Brighton 4. By the way, Brighton have racked up 69 goals in 34 league appearances under Roberto De Zerbi since he took charge in October last year. Only Manchester City and Arsenal have scored more in that time. They are absolutely brilliant to watch. And look, Jason, I know footballers in general are a bit slow to catch on at times, aren't they, Dion and Glenn? But 3 bookings for players kicking the ball away today. We know the new rules. They've been briefed. Núñez, the latest to be shown a yellow card. Wolves 1, Brighton 4.
What do we make of that then? Is Will right then to have a go at
He's only saying I don't know what he's talking about.
He's only saying it because he's not in the studio.
Very brave.
Very nice. Brave. Next time Will Perry sat in this chair or a chair, he'll be having words with him.
Absolutely.
Okay, there you are. You have been warned, Will Perry. Let's go to Craven Cottage. Chris Wise.
We're in 9 minutes of stoppage time, but really for a Fulham team that need 2 goals, just struggling really to see where 1 goal's coming from after that sending off of Tim Ream. Just a reminder about how the 2 goals came about. Worcester capitalising on a Diop error right at the end of the first half. Went round Leno, scored the opening goal. The second, perhaps a touch of controversy with that penalty. Ream booked for a second time, sent off. Went into the back of Worcester inside the penalty area, and Bemo scored the penalty. And at the moment, Brentford cruising towards 3 points in this West London derby.
Yeah, it's about time we had a little chat about that in the studio. Did you feel also that Fulham were hard done by, especially the sending off Tim Ream?
Yes, indeed. I think that the penalty was very soft. Visser looked as though he was off balance slightly. Ream comes up, brushes up to him is the best way I can describe it, and then he gets his marching orders for it as well, and it's 2-0. And in all honesty, when you look at Fulham today, 2-0 down, they've had a red card, and Fabrizio Romano said, here we go on Mitrovic to Saudi Arabia. It's been a terrible afternoon at Craven Cottage.
Yeah, and also we see these almost every Saturday, don't we? Up and down the leagues, not just in the Premier League. You know, centre-halves just brushing off the centre-forward or the striker, and then, you know, you're telling me it's another goal? Yeah. Glenn, another goal at Craven Cottage, Chris Wise.
Really straightforward this now for Brentford. 2 has become 3 in stoppage time, and Brian Mbemo has got his second of the game, and Fulham are just split apart, and it's understandable really, because they have to commit bodies forward to try to get themselves back into the game, the 10 men, and yet they've been carved apart by Brentford on the counter-attack, who raced away down the right-hand side. Yannick was involved, Aya was there as well. The pullback was really sweet, right across the edge of the 6-yard box, and Mbemo was there, waiting a few yards out, open goal, second of a very productive day for him, and a very big derby day win for Brentford. They're 3-0 up at Fulham.
It's the late show at Leicester City. Naz Premji.
Once again, they've scored late, the home side. Leicester City 2, Cardiff City 1. Jamie Vardy fouled in the box. He and some of his teammates were appealing for a penalty. Cesare Casadei, the Chelsea loanee, he wasn't. He lashed the ball home, past the Cardiff keeper from 6 yards out. It's Leicester City 2, Cardiff City 1.
No problems at all for Brentford, Glenn.
No problems at all. 3-0. Light work for them this afternoon. I felt as though early on in the game there was a lack of clinicalness from them, but they soon found their feet after a really bad error by Diop trying to pass it back to his goalkeeper that Visser got on the end of, and from that point on it's been plain sailing for them. 3-0.
And just looking at the Liverpool-Bournemouth game as well, Bournemouth have had their chance in this game, haven't they, Dion?
Yeah, they have. Just haven't taken them. They've made wrong decisions at the wrong time, getting into good positions, Jay, trying to take a touch. It's just not worked for them today, Bournemouth.
Oh, it's a disaster for Wolves, Will Perry.
Yeah, it's a red card for Mateus Nunes, and it's so stupid because we're in the 95th minute here at Molineux, and he's been given it for a shove there, and Nunes refusing to leave the field. He's going up to the referee, Andy Madley, and clapping him sarcastically. His teammates are ushering him off. It sort of started a 4 or 5 man brawl. The ball had basically gone out for a goal kick. Webster had been pushed over his own goalkeeper Steele. Then Nunes just shoves Estepinian to the floor. Idiot. He's off. And Wolves have lost.
Does Will Perry know this is not 606? 3 red cards in all our Premier League games today.
Well, that is what I would call a head loss, because Nunes clearly pushes Adam, I think it's Adam Webster. Then he goes after Adam Webster, tries to go over the top of him. Estepinian stands in his way, and he shoves Estepinian over the top of Webster.
And gets involved.
I don't know what he's doing. Like Will said there, 95th minute, no need. He's going to miss the next game.
He's absolutely bang on, isn't he, Dion?
Yeah, he is. Will's got it spot on. And unfortunately, when you're in that headspace, Glenn told me about this, when you're in that headspace, the red mist descends, you can't control yourself. Never been there myself.
OK, gallery, run the tape. Let's go to Anfield, Ailey Barber.
Oh, Bournemouth keep pushing. Fair play to them. They are not going out without a fight in this one. And Traore's just forced Allison into a really good fingertip save. It's gone round the post. So Bournemouth with a corner here. The clock is well past the 90 minutes. So not sure how much time we will have left. But Bournemouth certainly hoping that they can find the back of the net as the corner comes in. And that is well over the top of the crossbar from Solanke. So it looks like it will be all 3 points certainly staying here at Anfield. Liverpool leading by 3-1.
Thanks, Ailey. Full time at St Mirren, Motherwell. Kenny Crawford.
It was the tightest of games, Jason's, between two teams who are playing so well this season, but St Mirren win 1-0. Caelan Boyd-Munce's 9th minute goal proving to be the difference. St Mirren progress into the quarter-finals of the League Cup, a trophy they won back in 2013. Can they do it again under Stephen Robinson? 1-0 to St Mirren.
Into the Championship, Borough still looking for their first win of the season. Mark Webber.
But they've got a point. It's 1-1 with Huddersfield. A hard-earned point. Both points for them at the start of this season. Brahmas Dara's corner found Del Fry for an own goal for Huddersfield. Hayden Hackney slammed the ball in for the equaliser. But it's so obvious what the problem is for both sides here. So many missed opportunities. Middlesbrough 1, Huddersfield 1.
How However, Ipswich Town absolutely flying at the top of the table. Chris Latcham.
Yes, they are, and they nearly doubled their lead late on. We're deep into injury time. Massimo Longo, playing against his old team, spent a good 4 years here at QPR. He just lashed a volley goalwards, and Asmir Begovic, deep into his 30s, showed that age is but a number, diving to his right to beat the ball clear. But Ipswich are heading for 22 unbeaten in the league. It's remarkable. 1-0.
Scored 5, given away 1. Any comeback for Sheffield Wednesday, Nikesh Ragani?
Well, they're giving it a good go here, Jason. We're into the 4th minute of a potential 8 of stoppage time, and they keep pushing forward. We've had a couple of chances for Lee Gregory, but the finishing, the final touch, just keeps letting them down. They look like they're running out of steam here, and Preston might just hold on. It's still Sheffield Wednesday 0, Preston 1.
Red card at the King Power. Naz Premji.
Marlon Romeo with a silly challenge on Keenan Dewsbury Hall. Straight red, and into added on time, it's still Leicester 2, Cardiff 1.
Crazy game at the racecourse. It's now Wrexham 4, Swindon Town 5. And Dion Dublin is delighted. I can see him punch in the air because Cambridge United have beaten Bristol Rovers by 2-0 in League One. Quite right, too. To Ewood Park, Rich Wolfenden.
They've not won away since January 2nd, but today Hull City have done it, and they've done it late. 10-man Blackburn were leading through Sam Gallagher's goal up until the 81st minute when the former Brighton man Aaron Connolly
whistle, and Liverpool remain undefeated now in 20 seasons for their opening home game of a Premier League campaign. They had to come from behind after a scare from Bournemouth, but Chris Sutton deserved winners.
Yes, they were, and they had to work for it, of course. Came from behind, as you quite rightly said. Brilliant goal from Diaz to get them level. Contentious penalty. I didn't think it was a penalty. Szoboszlai went down too early. Salah tucks away the rebound. They get the 3rd goal, but of course just before the 3rd goal, the McAllister